halves. Tierney will bomb forward as well. Holding sits in there alongside Gabriel, but Tierney will get forward as well and sometimes be popping up as a left winger. So they've got plenty of attacking options, but I think when they do attack, they want to have that box defensively, really, with the two holding midfield players and then Holding and Gabriel sitting in there, and it keeps them nice and solid and strong against the counter, where they have been weak in the past.
I suppose as well it's a show of respect from Mikel Arteta to tonight's opponents that he stays with that team with the three at the back and the steel in midfield. As for Villa, solidity, the name of the game for them as well, particularly in terms of keeping the same side. The same back five and central midfield pair have started every single one of their 7 league games so far this season. Kit, how much of an advantage is that to have that kind of consistency?
It does help, without a doubt. I mean, if you can build those relationships, you know, the centre-back pairing and centre-back with their full-back, the two holding midfield players in there, relationships are very, very important in football when you want to build and progress and take things forward. Now, it's been a big turnaround for Aston Villa this season compared to last year, especially on their trebles. I don't think they've yet conceded on the road, which is incredible. I think the only Premier League side not to. So they are looking much more solid. I mean, last year I feared for them, as I think most people did. They just about stayed up by the skin of their teeth, but they look a different prospect altogether. I mean, they've had a couple of, obviously the Liverpool result was sensational, and I don't think anyone expected that. But then, it was no flukes. They went and beat Leicester as well then, which obviously, this afternoon have gone top of the table. So that they're a much vastly improved team, and I think those relationships and the consistency to team selection is key to that.
Yeah, 2 clean sheets from 2 away from home this season. They didn't keep a single one away from home in the Premier League last season, and part of that, of course, is the goalkeeper Emi Martinez, signed in the summer from tonight's opponents Arsenal. He'll be relishing the opportunity to return to the Emirates tonight. Probably feels more settled because he's had the same players in front of him all season.
Yeah, I would think so, definitely. And again, it's that consistency that you get to understand what other players are likely to do, and you just get that rapport with them, and it makes such a huge difference. But the goalkeeper is key for me. Same for Arsenal, really. You think of Liverpool, when they've always been a great attacking side. Suddenly they look brilliant, bringing in Van Dijk and Alisson. Now you look at Arsenal now, Leno and Gabriel. Suddenly that looks strong for them, and then people like Aston Villa will be looking to do the same, get a good strong centre-back pair in Konsa and Mings, and Martinez in behind them. So it's key to being successful for me, getting that goalkeeper and defence right.
And in front of the back five and alongside Douglas Luiz, how important is John McGinn to Aston Villa's hopes? He was missing for a significant period of last season, wasn't he? But 4 assists and a goal in the first 6 games of this season. Yeah, well, he sort of links it between obviously the defence and the attack. He's the main link player. Douglas does a good job, and he's very solid and aggressive in there, and breaks things up, does really well. But McGinn's the one who really links it. I mean, and now you suddenly look in front of him, and that's a good front four. Trezeguet, Barkley, Grealish, and Ollie Watkins. You suddenly thinking they look a decent team, and again with them a good balance to the whole side. They're strong defence, Douglas breaking things up in front of them, and then McGinn, that link player, and a good front four. So yeah, Villa for me look a vastly improved team from last season. Yeah, we have to mention the captain, Jack Grealish, the standout star of this side. Safe to say, I think he's taken his game to new levels each year he's played, coming up from the Championship, a first season then in the Premier League, and then of course the start he's made to this season, 4 goals and 4 assists in the first 6 games. He signed the new contract in the summer, didn't he? There's not even a hint of a feeling that he'd have preferred a move away to a big club. Well, not now. I'm sure he's very glad he's made the decision that he has, and he seems very, very settled. But as good as he's been, and he has been excellent this season, I think a lot of the credit and it's going to the players around him that have allowed him. So he's always looked at talent and done nice things on the ball, but last season a lot of people were questioning, is he just a bit of a luxury player? And when you're really struggling down the bottom, you can't have that luxury. This season he doesn't look a luxury, because the balance within the whole side for me is much, much better. So it allows him to
to sort of shine and show all the things he's good at without flagging up maybe some of his weaknesses, because other people compensate for that. And that's football. You know, a lot of the silky soccer players in the top teams, they need their teammates to do a lot of the dirty work for them, and the balance is what makes it work.
Balance, the key word. Looking at Arsenal in that regard, we know all about the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette, Saka, Willian, but defensive midfielder Thomas Partey, the big signing of the summer, the glue perhaps to hold everyone else together. What have you made of him over his 2 league starts so far?
Yeah, really good, obviously. So he's got undoubted quality. But again, with him, I thought he was excellent against Man United, but then I thought so was Elneny, and his energy was absolutely incredible. So again, it's that balance as a pairing. Now, as you said, this may be lacking a tiny bit of creativity potentially, but they can always change it, you know. As you say, Dani Ceballos on the bench, that's an obvious swap if Mikel Arteta need to do that. But I think to start with, he's starting the game, you know, very sensibly, going to be really solid. But like I say, they've still got loads of attacking options, and that he's a big threat, Tierney, for me as well, popping up from left side of a back three. And people sort of don't expect that too much, you know. I mean, obviously Sheffield United have done it very well, certainly last season. Things not going quite so well there this season, but you don't expect your centre-back to be popping up suddenly, putting in crosses on the left wing, and Arsenal can do that with Tierney.
More on our feature commentary later on, but in just a few minutes' time we'll be back to discuss the rest of the weekend's action in the English top flight. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Arsenal against Aston Villa to come, but we've already had 3 live commentaries in the English top flight this afternoon. Not many goals, but plenty of talking points.
Doherty with a cross, looking for Harry Kane. Kane with a header! Harry Kane! Goal number 150 in the Premier League has won the match for Tottenham with 2 minutes remaining.
Blasts it, sends the keeper the wrong way. Patricio dives to his right, but Vardy sends it to the keeper's left. And from the penalty spot, Leicester City have the lead. Jamie Vardy, what's he going to do this time? Oh, and it's the right this time, and then it bobbles up and wide of the goal. A save from Rui Patricio, and the score remains Leicester 1, Wolves 0. Good save from Patricio.
Mo Salah steps up from 12 yards, 12 minutes in, and he beats the goalkeeper to Ederson's right. And it is controversial because Sadio Mane has cheated to win it. 1-0 in the area. Jesus, lovely first touch, better second touch. He's levelled things up. Brilliant striker's play by Gabriel Jesus. Penalty given. Penalty has been given for handball, overturned by the VAR. Kevin De Bruyne steps up. Oh, and he's put it wide. Kevin De Bruyne has put the penalty wide.
Kit Simons alongside me, Tim Long, for the game between Arsenal and Aston Villa this evening. But as we've just heard, the previous commentary this evening was Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1. Plenty of drama at the Etihad, a couple of contentious penalty calls. Liverpool excellent to start, City growing into the game. And all in all, Kit, the scoreline perhaps a fair reflection.
I think so, yeah. It was an excellent first half, and then it sort of died a bit of a death really second half. But I think that the draw was probably the fair result, and I would think both managers would be reasonably pleased with that.
Yeah, before that as well, Leicester City 1, Wolves 0. Plenty of controversy in that one as well. The Jamie Vardy penalty that ultimately decided the game. You really have to feel for Wolves here, I think. It was the kind of handball decision we were seeing so unjustly in the early weeks of the season. The law was rightly changed, but it's happened again, as it did in the Manchester City-Liverpool game.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. I don't think anybody other than the team on the receiving end of the penalty actually winning it likes to see that, because it's, quite often it's so close, there's nothing you can do about it. It's not handball, and it shouldn't be a penalty. But again, as you say, Tim, we thought this was cleared up after the start of the season because there were some ridiculous ones being given, but it seems to have crept back in again now, and it's not good for the game.
I don't quite know what's happened, because as you say, they seem to have stamped it out. The law was officially changed. Those decisions had stopped, hadn't they? And then all of a sudden today, as you say, they creep back in. It is obvious, isn't it? Or at least it should be, for an official going across, having a look at the monitor, that a player is just holding his arms out in the natural motion of running. One of the surprising things about, I think, both of those decisions today was that when the referee did go to the monitor, he only watched it in slow motion.
Well, that's right, and things always look worse, so much worse in slow motion. And I don't know, listen, it's for me, it's just so frustrating. And people talk about a natural position. Well, it depends what you're doing. So if you're jumping for a header, your natural position, you've got to get leverage, and your arms are going to be up. So people say your arm's up and it hits your arm, then that's in an unnatural position. Well, it's not for the action that you're doing. You pretty much can't jump with your hands by your side. So it's, you see players now going out to block crosses and actually putting their hands behind their back. Well, that's unnatural for starters. You know what I mean? It's gone crazy, and you'd like to think common sense would come into play, but unfortunately it's not. Now, I do feel for the referees as well, because they're under such scrutiny. And like you say, they've got VAR or whatever now, but then looking at things in slow motion, yeah, he's hit his hand, but then we're going to get to a stage now where players are deliberately flicking the ball up in the penalty box against an opponent's hand, and no one wants to see that, but that's the way it's going, because they're going to be given.
It seems to have taken long enough already, but let's hope they get it sorted out sooner rather than later. Now, our first commentary today saw Tottenham win 1-0 at West Brom. Harry Kane's 150th Premier League goal coming in the 88th minute. His manager, Jose Mourinho, full of praise.
Doherty with a cross, looking for Harry Kane. Kane with a header! Harry Kane! Goal number 150 in the Premier League has won the match for Tottenham with 2 minutes remaining.
He's the kind of player that even if he doesn't score goals, he shows how good he is, because many strikers, everything is about scoring goals, and if they don't, the performance is empty. Harry doesn't have an empty performance because what he does for the team is magnificent. If in the top of that you can score a winning goal on minute 87 or 88, that is the perfect scenario.
Yeah, you heard Alex Crook with the commentary on that winning goal from Harry Kane today. The Spurs saviour, not a vintage performance, but a typical Jose Mourinho get the job done performance this afternoon, Kit.
Yeah, and obviously for a short period of time it took Spurs top of the table, which it just makes the whole league exciting at the moment. But as you say, it wasn't vintage by any stretch, and they have played some incredible stuff so far this season. But to be successful, also you need to win games when you're not playing particularly well, and find a way, keep the momentum going, and get the 3 points even when you're not at the top of your game. That's what good sides do. So Tottenham, again, they're another one. They look improved and better this season certainly than last, and a bit more resolute, and that gives them a lot of hope, I'm sure.
Certainly the quality of a Jose Mourinho side, maybe the quality of a Premier League title challenger as well. Now those results mean Leicester sit top on 18 points. Spurs and Liverpool are a point behind on 17. Southampton in 4th have 16. Chelsea on 15. Manchester City just 12 so far, down in 11th place in the table, only 2 points more than Manchester United, who of course have seen their manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer under plenty of pressure. How much pressure is Pep Guardiola under at the moment, Kit?
I don't think he'll be under too much at the moment, because it's still very early days. They've got a game in hand, obviously, on most of the teams above them, other than Villa, I think it is. I don't think too much at the moment at all, and I think Pep will be very confident that they'll start the machine will start to click in, and they'll start grinding out the results that we expect them to, and their quality needs them to do. So I think Pep will be fully expecting that to happen, and I am as well, to be honest.
Just to go back briefly to yesterday, Manchester United have that game in hand as well, a 3-1 win for them at Everton, perhaps the most significant result in the Premier League yesterday. United showed their quality and their character, didn't they, to come from a goal down to win 3-1 and to ease the pressure for what seems like at least the international break on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Where do you see them and his position at the moment?
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, people as the momentum starts building, be it good or bad, it's difficult to stop it. Now they've certainly slowed it with that performance yesterday, but then you look, it's just the inconsistency. We all know Manchester United can be fantastic, play some excellent football, score a lot of goals, but then also at times, I mean, they look quite abject, really, and so I'm sure he's more frustrated than anyone, because the ability's there. I mean, they've spent an awful lot of money on assembling that squad of players, but every time now, I think once it starts and a manager's coming under that sort of scrutiny that Ollie has, then it's just the next defeat, and then suddenly they'll go again. Now what they need to do is put, obviously after the international break now, put a long winning run together, and then people will suddenly forget all about it, but that's easier said than done.
Yeah, we'll see how they go from here, but we'll turn our attention back now to our final commentary before the international break and hear from the two managers, Villa's Dean Smith and first Arsenal's Mikel Arteta.
Well, I think they have a better understanding with the players. They work with the manager for longer. I think they recruited really well. They got Emi, they got the striker, they got Ross, which is a player with a lot of experience, and Douglas Luiz, that now is starting to show what he's capable. Is a player that I know really well from my time at City, and I think the time is benefiting them together, and you can see what they are trying to do, and they look really strong.
The players know that there's a realism about where we're at and where we're trying to get to anyway. We still feel that we've had a good start. 4 wins out of 6 is certainly not bad by any means in this league. The last 2 results have been disappointing. I think scorelines can put a slant on performances at times, and it was never a 4-0 game when Southampton were 4-0 up, and it probably sometimes slants the performance. The performance wasn't a bad performance. We just gave free kicks away in silly areas, and when the second half we showed what we could have done and should have done.
Two managers who've impressed since arriving in the Premier League last season, and both you feel have made big improvements this season already. What specifically has Mikel Arteta done, Kit, to change the dynamic and the mentality of this Arsenal side?
Well, again, I think he's without doubt made them tougher to beat, and they're not conceding quite so easy. I mean, everyone said, a lot of people were saying Arsenal were a bit soft, and that's certainly how they appeared. Now they seem to be getting a bit tougher, a bit more streetwise, without losing the club identity as well, which is also a very important thing now. Mikel Arteta would know all about that, having been the captain of Arsenal and such a good player for them for so long. So he understands the club, but they did come across as looking a little bit soft, and they lost games very easily and conceded too easily. It didn't look like it was hurting them when they did lose a game or concede a goal. Now he's changed, and everyone talks about the environment and this, that and the other, but the players have got to buy into it, and it's a lot of hard work to actually create this now winning environment and a winning mentality. And that winning mentality is not just about winning games on a match day, it's about what they do in training every day of the week, day in, day out. And I think that's what it looks to me, that's what he's instilled within this Arsenal squad. Now also, I spoke already about the goalkeeper and about Gabriel at centre back. That makes such a difference if the rest of the team see, your keeper who you really trust and you really fancy, you've got a lot of belief in him, and a big strong centre half who's like leading that defensive line for you there. It gives everyone else in the team so much confidence, and I think that's what's happened with Arsenal. And then we've already spoken about Partey coming in front of that three-man defence at the moment, as it is, Partey and Elneny at the moment, and Arsenal suddenly look quite solid and aggressive, lots of energy, and before they had looked a little bit languid and easy-osy, lapsadaisical, whatever you want to call it, but there's certainly been a shift from that, and Mikel Arteta needs to take the credit for that.
Yeah, kick-off in this one is around 5 minutes away. We'll get back to it soon. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talks Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Arsenal against Aston Villa from the Emirates Stadium. I'm your host, Tim Long. Alongside me, former Crystal Palace, Fulham and Manchester City defender Kit Simons. This is Premier League Live. Ahead of kickoff, we'll take a final check on the two starting lineups. But first, we are going to pause on Remembrance Sunday in the UK for a moment's silence to pay our respects to those who've given their lives for their country in conflicts down the years.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Sets of players now to take their positions on the floodlit playing surface of the Emirates, this big empty bowl of a stadium, the bright night lights of a capital city in standstill twinkling in the distance over the top of the smooth modern curves of the roof here in North London. There can be no standing still for these two clubs, though. 3 valuable points the prize as they chase their respective ambitions in this Premier League campaign. Aston Villa are ready to get us underway in their all-black kits today. Arsenal in the red socks, red and white shirts and white shorts, and they all take a knee on the referee's whistle in support of equality for all around the world. We're underway. Aston Villa have Martinez in goal on his return to Arsenal. A back four of Cash, Konsa, Mings and Targett. A midfield of Douglas, Luiz and McGinn, with Barkley playing just ahead of them. Grealish and Trezeguet either side of Ollie Watkins. For Arsenal, it's Leno in goal. A back three of Holding, Gabriel and Tierney. The wing-backs Bellerin and Saka. The midfield Partey and Elneny. And Willian and Aubameyang, with Lacazette in their front three. Arsenal throw on the far side, and it's lofted forward towards halfway, nodded on by Tyrone Mings. And Villa on the ball early on as they move it out towards Jack Grealish, the captain on this near side, looking to attack on the near side of the penalty area as Aston Villa try and attack the goal across to our left. It's a good pass as well. It's McGinn, he rifles it home. Grealish and McGinn connect to deadly effect. What a start for Aston Villa at the Emirates. They lead Arsenal by 1-0 inside of a minute.
Absolutely fantastic goal, but poor defending from Arsenal. They just looked a little bit slow and sluggish, but you'll give Aston Villa full credit. Jack Grealish especially picks his pass, and it's a great strike. It's a great strike. Lacazette's coming back with him, John McGinn. Put them be slow to get in there, Lacazette. Partey's a little bit slow to come out, and it's a fantastic finish. 1-0 Aston Villa, and it's a brilliant start for them.
It's a left-footed lightning bolt just inside the penalty area from John McGinn into the near top corner. Unstoppable for Bernd Leno in the Arsenal net. Quite a remarkable start. There is a delay to taking the kick-off. I wonder if they're having a look at anything in terms of the VAR here. The referee, Martin Atkinson, is taking his time, and they're certainly checking something. I can only imagine it could have been an offside potentially against Jack Grealish as he got away on the near side.
I'd be amazed with that. He looked like he timed his run very well. I'd just run in behind Hector Bellerin, faced up then Rob Holding into the box. He certainly didn't look offside to me, but there's certainly a bit of a delay. But from the defensive side of Arsenal, it's like, they're showing, looking at the strike,
offside, potentially.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, Ross Barkley is stood in the line of sight of the goalkeeper Leno. This would be incredibly harsh on Aston Villa, because I don't think Leno would have had a chance of stopping it anyway.
No, certainly not, because
such was the power.
Yeah, it looks like he is in an offside position. I don't think it's going to stand. That's a let-off. If this is the case, it'd be a let-off for Arsenal, and desperately unlucky for Villa, because as you say, Tim, he wouldn't have got it because it was such a good strike. Absolutely smashed into the top corner, and whether Barkley was slightly obscuring Leno's vision or not, he wouldn't have saved it, but he is in an offside position, so I'm sure it's going to be ruled out.
It's been an afternoon and an evening of controversy in terms of refereeing decisions, VAR decisions in the Premier League. We've had a couple of controversial penalties, and now controversially I think we're going to see this goal ruled out for offside. Yes, he stood in an offside position, Ross Barkley. Yes, I think he is in the line of sight of the goalkeeper, and yes, it has to be by the letter of the law disallowed. The referee is going to come across and have a look at the video. It's a clear decision that he's offside. He is surely checking Martin Atkinson to see if he was interfering with the line of sight of the goalkeeper. That's the key issue here.
Yeah, and as we've already said, I think because he is so close, and I think he is in his line of sight, it will be disallowed. But I don't think he would have saved it anyway. Even if he could have completely seen it, and the vision wasn't obscured, it was such a good strike and right in the top corner that it was virtually unstoppable.
I said in the commentary it was a lightning bolt of a shot from John McGinn. That is why there's no chance, in my view, Leno could have stopped it. May have taken a slight deflection as well, didn't it? Into the top corner of the defender in front trying to block it. That would have made it even harder for the goalkeeper.
That's right, yeah. Bellerin eventually came out to try and close, but it's poor defending from Arsenal, and they've been doing this well lately, but everyone's just stood off and sort of left it to everyone else, and you can see it in slow motion. For John McGinn to have so much room in a packed penalty box is incredible. Absolutely incredible. This has taken an absolute eternity.
It's disallowed, isn't it? But he took a long time looking at it.
But again,
and then
Tim, why such a delay? It was obvious he was in offside position. He was standing in front of the keeper. Now, it's unfortunate for Villa, but it's quite an obvious decision that they're going to give it as an offside. So, how does VAR take so long and become such a massive talking point again?
By the letter of the law, it is correct. In terms of fairness and justness, perhaps it is not, because Aston Villa, with that rasping effort from John McGinn, should have potentially had an opening goal inside of a minute, one that Bernd Leno was never going to stop. But just the positioning of Ross Barkley in front of the goalkeeper has proved to be a get-out-of-jail card for the Gunners.
And it's only just as well. I'll tell you who does very, very well in that situation is Gabriel, because he's the deepest Arsenal player by quite a considerable distance, and as the ball's cut back to McGinn, he comes flying out, which leaves Barkley in an offside position. Only just, albeit, but good defending from Gabriel there, coming up so quickly as the ball was cut back.
Almost in a way by a loophole in the law, Arsenal have been let off the hook here. 0-0. We've played 6 minutes officially, but the ball's only been in play for a couple. And Aston Villa have to shake off that disappointment as it goes long from the left-back position down the line towards Barkley. And Arsenal, for the first time, really can get on the ball in the centre circle with Elneny. Back he goes to Tierney. Tierney loses his footing on the slippy surface, and that allows Watkins to get in on the right wing, cross to the back post, but over the head of Barkley and Grealish, and out towards this near side. And the sloppy start from Arsenal continues.
Yeah, he just... I think it hit his standing foot, Tierney, there. He went to do a little sort of pirouette and bring the ball forward, and it hit his standing foot, and he slipped over and it went the other way, and then Ollie Watkins was through, but albeit very wide of the goal, and put his cross far too far.
Something for Lacazette to chase here over the top. Sticking with him is Konsa. Shoulder to shoulder, Lacazette trying to wriggle free, those two tangling each other up, and the decision has gone in Aston Villa's favour. But that's an early warning for Villa, because it took just one lofted ball over the top to almost get Lacazette in.
Yeah, and he was left one-on-one, and you know, you won't want to be doing that too often. As we're speaking about the pairings and what have you, and certainly if one centre half is marking the striker and going tight, the other one needs to be taking up that covering position. And on that occasion, Aston Villa didn't do that very well.
Here's Jack Grealish with his trademark short shorts and his low socks, showing his sizable thigh muscles and muscling off one of the Arsenal defenders to move it back and keep Aston Villa in possession. It goes all the way back to Martinez, who's very accustomed, of course, to his surroundings tonight, playing at the Emirates, having signed from Arsenal in the summer. Flicked on the far side towards Ollie Watkins, who's trying to hold off Gabriel. Getting forward from right back was the number 2, Matty Cash, who was one of Aston Villa's big signings in the summer, along with Martinez. They spent plenty of money Villa, and in fact the 4th biggest net spend in the whole of the Premier League, behind only Leeds, Chelsea and Manchester City. But those new signings have slotted in really well, haven't they? And that is to Dean Smith's great credit.
Well, they spent a lot the season before as well when they first got promoted, and they didn't all work out, those signings, but certainly the ones this summer certainly seem to have done very, very well, and you know, as we keep saying, they look a far better, more balanced, better team all round.
Arsenal trying to figure out the best route forward here as they pass the ball to their goalkeeper, out to their centre-backs, and then to their holding midfield player Elneny. Gabriel goes long from a left-back position, but can only kick into touch on halfway. Yeah,
very, very aggressive press, Tim, from Aston Villa. They're certainly not going to sit off and let Arsenal have it all their own way. As we've seen, they've already had a goal disallowed, starting very, very bright, and when Arsenal get the ball with Leno, they're pushing right on all over the pitch, and you know, as we saw earlier, that will then leave. Oh,
it's a short pass. It's a big chance. Through on goal, had to take it first time. Thomas Partey with the aggressive press for Arsenal, forcing the error, and he was on the doorstep of Martinez's goal, but couldn't slot it past him. A big save from Martinez on his return to the Emirates.
Well, he's just had a goal disallowed, John McGinn, and then he gives an awful back pass, way too short. And as you say, Martinez does really well to come out and block it and clear it with his feet.
Big moments at both ends of the pitch for both teams. Bright start here, 10 minutes played. Barkley's ball out towards Grealish on the near side, but in the end it was between him and Watkins, and drifts behind for an Arsenal goal kick. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0.
Well, certainly 10 minutes into, we've had plenty of excitement already. It's not not too much really classy, silky soccer, but certainly plenty of excitement and chances and talking points, without a doubt.
Even without the fans in the Emirates, something exciting about the wintry feel and the floodlights being on. A bit of rain and mist in the air as Arsenal move it around to Elneny and then across to the far side, attacking the goal across to our right. They have it with Kieran Tierney, that licence that we talked about before kick-off, to get forward from the left side of the back three. They switch it across to the near side to Bellerin, who loves to get forward from right wing-back. Takes it down on his chest, gives it to Partey, stabs the ball up into the air. Has to be headed away by Holding on the right of the back three. Lacazette challenging for it, took a whack to the face inadvertently by Mings. And then McGinn raising his boot high on halfway to try and kick the ball up into the air, and Lacazette takes another whack.
Yeah, Lacazette down. John McGinn in the thick of the action again, just his foot a little bit high to give away the free kick. He certainly had a very, very lively start to the game as John McGinn.
Aston Villa making sure they let Arsenal know that they're there and in for a fight tonight. The ball goes behind for an Aston Villa goal kick. They won their first 4 in the Premier League this season. They've since lost 2 in a row. It's home to Leeds and Southampton. If they were to lose today, it would make them just the 3rd club in top flight history to win their opening 4 and lose their next 3. They'd be the first to do it since Stoke back in 1895. That's what Aston Villa are hoping doesn't happen tonight. And given the way they've started, I think they'll be optimistic that they can at least take a point.
Yeah, I think Dean Smith will be very pleased with the way they've started. They've shown a lot of energy. Certainly been on the front foot. Not haven't dominated proceedings, I don't think would be fair to say, but they've had a really good go so far. And then obviously that goal disallowed and started the game very brightly.
They did win the last meeting between these two, which was at Villa Park. But Arsenal have won each of the last 3 league games here. Although needed 2 goals in the final 10 minutes to do so, to come from behind with 10 men and win 3-2 here last season. There's Bellerin on the near side for them. Now Willian outside of him, offering the width. Inside to Elneny, heavy touch from him, presents the ball to McGinn, who uses his body well to hold off Elneny, to move it on to Watkins. And then there's Partey doing what he was brought to do, and to intercept and to shift it out towards the far side. Aubameyang, who gets on the ball for the first time, drifting infield from that far side. Step-overs attacking the far edge of the penalty area, pulls it back into a really good area, and Willian doesn't put it into a good area. It's shat up really nice for him on the half volley, free just inside the penalty area, and he puts it into the empty rosette.
Yeah, well, he does really well, Partey, to nick the ball and win it and play it out wide to Aubameyang on the touchline, who does really well. Lacazette's gone in and taken the back line of Aston Villa quite deep, and the ball's pulled back to Willian, and it's quite a difficult skill, to be fair. The ball bounces up just in front of him, and he's trying to get over it with his right foot, but a very difficult technique to do, I think, especially on this skiddy surface at the Emirates Stadium we've got tonight.
Set up a couple of goals in the Premier League since signing from Chelsea on a free, not yet found the back of the net for Arsenal. 13.5 minutes played, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0, and Arsenal starting to get on ball a bit more here with Holding drifting forward towards halfway, and he pings it across to the far side. It's a lovely ball, taken down by Saka. Villa are going to keep applying the pressure, trying to get tight to Arsenal. Partey's got a bit of space to drift along the lines of the centre circle into the Villa half. Can't really connect properly with Lacazette though, as Villa continue to defend tight and get it back to Martinez, who steers away towards halfway, flicked on towards Luiz, but guided back by Gabriel, another Brazilian, to burnt Leno in the Arsenal penalty area. They've come here, haven't they, Kit, with plenty of energy in the opening quarter of an hour?
They certainly have. We just spoke about that high press that they're doing. Ross Barkley pushing right up alongside Ollie Watkins, and when the ball's more central, then Jack Grealish is pushing on as well, and they're pressing with a front 3 and showing lots and lots of energy.
There's Partey again, the man who's given the space. He's not just a defensive midfield player who breaks up play, he can play the ball forward as well. It's Bellerin who gets the cross in, but it's poor, certainly by his standards, and straight into the grateful gloves of Martinez.
Yeah, he's one of several players at Arsenal seems to have had a bit of a new lease of life under Mikel Arteta, Hector Bellerin, and he's been playing well this season, certainly looking more like his old self, galloping forward, which is a sight all Arsenal fans love to see. But that cross there that time was very poor too, far too close, not enough pace on it, and just far too close to Emiliano Martinez.
Does seem to have recovered from a series of injuries to get fully fit this season. Bellerin starts in every league game so far, 2 assists as well from that right back or right wing back position. Arsenal going with the 2 more steely central midfielders today in Partey and Elneny. We talked about the need for Bellerin and Saka on the other side to offer some creativity to the front 3. Bounces through towards Tierney. Arsenal have a throw 20 yards from their corner flag on the far side. 16 minutes played, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. Do remember you can get in touch with us on Twitter at TalkSport Live. We'd love to hear from you wherever you're listening around the world today. Tierney to take the throw, taking the long long time over it as well, as he waits for a bit of movement and then launches it long down the left flank towards Aubameyang. Get it back towards Ollie Watkins. And then just hook clear off the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Aston Villa doing their very best to make sure Arsenal can't get the ball down on the deck and play with it, and they've won it back here. And there's Douglas Luiz getting a foot in to guide it to McGinn. Across to the near side it comes. Targett chips it forward from left back. Here's Watkins, who takes a nice touch to steady himself on the near edge of the penalty area. Ollie Watkins looking to get the ball into the box. There's only Jack Grealish waiting though. And the cross in the end was squeezed in by Targett instead, but along the ground and easily cleared away. But Villa will start again from halfway. It's a poor ball from McGinn, and now a chance maybe for Arsenal to counter. Aubameyang waiting for teammates to arrive, and they don't arrive quick enough, so Arsenal just put the brakes on, slow it down and get it to Tierney on the far side. After a fast and furious start, it's just settled down a bit, Kit.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, just you saw the last Villa attack there, it seems to be a ploy. I mean, that's where the disallowed goal in the first minute or so came from, was a ball over Hector Bellerin's head into that channel that's just behind him, and then getting someone one-on-one up against Rob Holding. On that last occasion it was Ollie Watkins. Obviously for the disallowed goal it was Jack Grealish.
Saka, really good cross in towards the near corner of the 6-yard box, headed away though by Konsa. Here's Tierney getting forward all the way into the penalty area as well. The cross comes in over the top of the crossbar from Saka this time, and that's a disappointment for him and for Arsenal, because they had 3 or 4 red shirts in the penalty area.
Yeah, but that's what I was talking about, Tim, at the top of the show, with Tierney getting forward down that left-hand side from left side centre back. You know, he's difficult to mark when he comes forward from there. Everyone else is picking up their man, and suddenly a centre back popping up in and around the penalty box is difficult to deal with. And Arsenal do attack a little bit lopsided at times.
We've heard from DJ Keefe on Twitter, says a little hurricane's approaching South Beach. He's gone for a walk to get some beers, so all seems good. And
as long as he gets his beers,
an Arsenal victory.
As long as he gets his beers, I'm sure he'll be fine. Batten down the hatches and listen to the commentary.
At the moment, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0. Get your radio on, get yourself in the bathtub. Under a door frame at least, maybe. Headed away on halfway back towards the chest of Jack Grealish, spinning on the near side, looking to run down the left flank. It goes to Targett, who's made that left back position his own after Neil Taylor started as the left back last season. Moving it around nicely. There's a new left back, as we've talked about on the other side, a new right back rather, as we've talked about on the other side for Aston Villa, Matty Cash, who's made a bright start as well. And all of those players have been ever present in the back line. Given away though by Villa. Here comes Bellerin. He's a little infield this time. He's got width from Willian as he carries the ball towards the corner of the penalty area. Willian again, back to Bellerin, square to Partey. Now Arsenal can look to build, but Aston Villa have 5 bodies back along the width of their own penalty area. It's up to Arsenal to try and figure out how to break them down, as Holding finds Partey. He chips it back towards halfway to Gabriel, who's at the centre of that back 3. Villa have done really well to block the passing lanes, get everybody back behind the ball and force Arsenal all the way back into their own half.
Yeah, they certainly do look very well drilled, Villa. It reeks of, a lot of work on the training field. This doesn't just happen. Everyone knows exactly what they're doing, their defensive roles, responsibility. They're working their socks off, pressing either high up the pitch when they can, and then if Arsenal do beat that press, then they're getting back into shape, dropping off and getting back in very, very quickly as well. So they look very structured and organised at the moment, Aston Villa.
Arsenal haven't really had too much of a chance yet in 20 minutes. It remains 0-0 as Aubameyang comes down the left again. He's pulled back by Cash, and Arsenal will have a free kick about 4 or 5 yards from the corner flag. But Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is certainly doing his job out on the left. We know he loves to play down the centre, but he's a threat from that side as well, isn't he?
He certainly is, and we should talk about how well Aston Villa is set up. When you get a player like Aubameyang, he goes past 2 or 3, take 2 or 3 players just out of the game, and he glides past people. And just got clipped there from Matty Cash. It's just a free kick, sort of 10-12 yards from the touchline, out on Arsenal's left-hand side.
It's Willian and Saka who are stood over the ball, offering both right and left-footed options. Approaching the midway point of the first half, Arsenal have 5 players in the penalty area, Villa a wall of 2, and plenty of those black shirts back in the 6-yard box. It's Willian who's going to take it all the way back to Tierney on the edge of the D. He strikes it. It was a poor connection really, and steered away by one of the Villa players falling down in the penalty area.
Yeah, it's a poor free kick all round him. I'm not sure Tierney was expecting it. I don't think it was meant for him.
The space was there on the edge of the box, wasn't it? But
I don't think Tierney was obviously a left footer. I don't think the option was really for him, and the ball was stuck under his feet when it came to him. So I don't think he was meant to be the option there.
The idea was right in terms of catching Aston Villa off guard, but the execution was poor from Arsenal. The rain has intensified here as we see it twinkle through the floodlights and hammer down onto the pitch here in North London, and it remains Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0 here on Premier League Live, 22 minutes in. And if you're joining us late, just to fill you in on what's happened so far, Aston Villa had a goal ruled out for offside in the opening minute. John McGinn with an unstoppable shot at the body of Ross Barkley in front of Bernd Leno. Made that by the letter of the law a goal that the referee could not give. Targett will take a throw for Aston Villa here, about parallel with the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, gets it back on the near touchline, touches it back towards Barkley, but he's not able to make a clean connection, and it's an Arsenal throw about 20 yards from their own corner flag. Plenty of predictions coming in on Twitter. Awesome Diamond says 1-0 to the Arsenal, and at the moment it's looking like it's going to be that kind of a tight game. Tony says Arsenal 2, Villa 1. This comes in from the far side for Arsenal, but McGinn is in that position on the edge of the D to tidy up, and Aston Villa clear away as far as the head of Bellerin, who nods it back to the chest of Willian. He gives it away to Ross Barkley, who's not really had a chance to get on the ball yet, and he moves it out to Ollie Watkins, who drifts across to the left. Now they've got 2 players attacking the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Fortuitously it comes to Barkley running towards the byline. Back to Grealish, a bit of space on the near corner of the penalty area for him, into the box, so Arsenal have to be careful at a walking pace. Barkley now out on the near side of the penalty area. They're trying to figure out the best route in Aston Villa, but everybody's just stopped and stood still here. And it goes towards Targett, who is offering the underlap from left back. Barkley's back heel, Grealish again in a bit of space. Will he get the cross in this time? Those 3 players trying to figure it out. And it's Barkley, slips it in behind, they've worked it wonderfully, far post, it's in. Targett, what a goal that is for Aston Villa. Targett's ball across the face of goal to the back post, and Aston Villa have the lead with Trezeguet arriving to prod it home into the back of the empty net. Aston Villa there looking like prime Brazil as they lead Arsenal by a goal to 0.
Well, excellent goal again. Like I say, we said this once before and it was disallowed, but I can't see this one being disallowed somehow. But so just too easy from an Aston Villa point of view. Arsenal just set off them. So it's 3 against 3 on the far side, and Ross Barkley and Jack Grealish are just really toying with the Arsenal back 4. They're doing little flicks and no one's laying a glove on them, Tim, trying to get close or put pressure on the ball. Arsenal just sit off them, let them do what they want, and then they played in for the cross, and Trezeguet at the back post. Really, really poor from an Arsenal point of view, but an excellent Aston Villa goal, and you've got to say overall they probably deserve it.
Dean Smith's side almost walking the ball into the back of the Arsenal net, with the 3 players on the near side of the penalty area taking their time, slowing it right down, making the most of the fact that they weren't challenged tight. And the triangular passes, they got in behind. Targett's ball was right across the face of goal, and the back post Trezeguet couldn't miss. And they're coming forward again here, deep cross into the penalty area, almost found its way to Grealish, who would have been free. He takes it down, moving away from the box though. Now Matt Targett, who guides it back to Tyrone Mings on halfway. And Aston Villa are stringing together plenty of passes again, looking really confident on the ball.
Yeah, I think it was Saka who Trezeguet ran off to just be completely free, and as you say, couldn't really miss at the back post and bundled the ball into the back of the net. So it's poor defending on this right-hand side, on the Arsenal right, to allow the cross to come in, but then also poor defending from Saka not tracking his man.
Lacazette back to Elneny, moving through the centre circle before skimming the ball out to this side to Bellerin. Infield it goes to Partey. 26 minutes played, Arsenal 0, Villa 1. Villa have had the ball in the back of the Arsenal net twice now. Worked it very well to do so, but the defence has given them spaces to exploit. The first goal ruled out, the second one stands. Here's Partey for Arsenal, dinking one over the top, but he's asking too much of Bellerin and it drifts behind for an Aston Villa goal kick.
I mean, we're talking about that Arsenal central midfield pairing of Partey and Elneny and how much energy they've got. Well, they're not really showing it today. They look a little bit laboured today, and not really at it like we know they can be, and they have been of late.
Just seeing the slow motion replay of the goal, it looks like an own goal, doesn't it? I don't think that Trezeguet got his boot to it.
No, possibly, yeah. Trezeguet got in front of Saka, and there's a desperate lunge for him to try and get something on the ball, which it looks like he did, but unfortunately he's the one who put it into the net.
He's facing his own net a couple of yards out. He essentially tackles the ball into his own net, doesn't he?
Well, once you let your man get the wrong side of you, he was in a whole world of pain there.
And Arsenal, they're in a world of pain here at the Emirates. They're trailing by a 0-0 to Aston Villa. They've only really fashioned the half chance for Willian on the volley so far that he blazed over the top. I suppose were presented with another opportunity when Thomas Partey got the ball right in front of Martinez's goal, but Martinez saved well against his former club. Gabriel in the centre of the back three, a lovely ball out towards the chest of Aubameyang, but the flag was up against him. I think Aston Villa have played this to perfection so far, haven't they? They've just put some nice passes together. They've earned the right to play by pressing Arsenal, ruffling their feathers and holding their defensive shape very well. Absolutely,
as you said, the game plan has been played out very, very well so far, and Dean Smith will be very pleased with what he's seen up to this stage now. So the energy that they're pressing high up the pitch is really, really good, but then, like I say, the defensive shape, and they get back once that press is broken, they drop very, very quickly, the front players, to get back in and make a real solid, compact team shape.
The wins at Leicester and Fulham. Villa are looking to win 3 straight away games in the Premier League for the first time since April of 2010. It's been almost 10.5 years. In fact, over 10.5 years. If I can get my maths right. 29 minutes played here. They lead at Arsenal by a 0-0.
And as you said, Tim, earlier, 2 clean sheets in both of those games as well, so they'll be looking for a 3rd clean sheet, which will obviously give them the 3 points.
The only team yet to concede a goal away from home in the Premier League this season, although they have only played the 2 away games, but they didn't keep a single one last season.
That in itself that's a huge point, I think, and shows the difference in this side this year.
Saka getting in behind, crosses it in towards the head of Aubameyang, clipped away in front of him by Cash. Arsenal still on the attack here. Aubameyang in the penalty area. Tierney on the overlap. Big block of the near post. Still comes to Willian at the far post. He rifles it back in. Anywhere will do for Aston Villa as it's turned away towards Bellerin. And Arsenal continue to attack the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. Bellerin gets the cross in again. Diving header away this time. All hands to the puck defensively for Aston Villa. The first time they've really looked shaken. And Jack Grealish alleviates all of the pressure by prodding the ball forward and getting clipped and winning Aston Villa a free kick.
Yeah, better from Arsenal that. They got plenty of bodies forward, and again it was Kieran Tierney from left side centre half who's the highest Arsenal player out on that left hand side in the box, whips it across, couple of ricochets, a little bit of pinball in the box, and Villa did look for the first time a little bit nervous, but obviously Arsenal couldn't quite get that finishing touch, but better from Arsenal.
30 minutes played though here on Premier League Live. It remains Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1. And just seeing a shot on our monitor of the Aston Villa coach John Terry. There's plenty of this defensive performance about it in his mould, isn't there, John Terry, in terms of the organisation of the defence and the whole team as a defensive unit.
Well, also, and you just saw on that occasion when Arsenal did get in, and they the best bit of play I think in the 30 minutes we've had so far, they
Cross comes in from the far side for Aston Villa, and Rob Holding had to head the ball from 6 yards out over the top of his own crossbar.
Yeah, they'll have
a corner.
Sorry, Tim. Then when players do, when Arsenal do get the ball in the Villa box, and people are putting their bodies on the line and making blocks, and
Terry-esque, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's great defending. You know, you say maybe it's a bit old school defending. It's excellent defending, is what it is now. For as much as it's all about playing out from the back now and getting the ball off the keeper and the centre half splitting, you need to be able to do that. If you want to be a good, successful team, you've got to defend properly and be willing to take blocks and take one for the team.
Ross Barkley will take the first corner of the game after 31 minutes into the near post, flicked by McGinn. He's saying he got a touch from Arsenal's Bukayo Saka. It should be another Aston Villa corner. There's going to be another Aston Villa corner as well, spotted by the assistant on the far side, so Barkley will take again from that far side.
Yeah, again, it looked like he'd miss it, but I think it's something they deliberately did, and Arsenal again a little bit sort of lapsadaisical.
He's trying to slip it through to McGinn, but those two can't connect, and it's steered away back into the Aston Villa half. It's been far from just a defensive performance from Aston Villa. They've had plenty of the ball as well, worked it really neatly in dangerous areas, as they did for the opening goal, which will go down as an own goal from Saka. Some delightful combination play before that, albeit against a static Arsenal backline.
I mean, there hasn't been a load in it, Tim, I don't think, but I think Aston Villa have been the better side and deserve to have their noses in front with this goal. So I think Mikel Arteta will be very keen to get his players in the change room and probably give them a bit of a volley. I think they need to liven up a little bit.
Trezeguet's header on this near side, but he can't connect with Ollie Watkins. We've not seen too much of Ollie Watkins, have we? He's been a little isolated for Aston Villa up top, but plenty of good play behind him, and it only takes a chance for a man who's in fine goal-scoring form. 4 goals in his first 6 Premier League appearances after 26 in the Championship last season for Brentford. Target's header away from the left-back position for Villa. And Arsenal have the ball with Holding, and now Bellerin. Again, Aston Villa looking to push forward and not give Arsenal too much time on the ball. It's won back here by Douglas Luiz, who takes it off Thomas Partey and goes forward towards the edge of the D, out towards Trezeguet now near corner of the penalty area, onto his left foot, smashes one. Was just hoping perhaps it found its way to the far post, or maybe took a deflection. He has to settle instead for a throw.
Yeah, really, really good play from Douglas Luiz, but that's the sort of thing Partey had been doing for Arsenal, and now he's getting caught on it. And we spoke about this Elneny-Partey relationship, and now at the moment it said that we thought they'd do that, stick with it to maybe make them look solid, but they haven't looked particularly solid, and they've not created too much either, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Ceballos come on very early into the second half, I'd imagine.
Chipped over the top here towards Grealish, who takes it down, spins in one motion and tries to strike it with his left boot, and he was pounced upon straight away, and vitally so by the centre-back Gabriel.
Again, it's that channel, that Arsenal channel on Rob Holding that they're looking to exploit all the time. Like for the disallowed goal, for the goal they actually scored coming down that side, and on that occasion as well. Just took a good block in the end from Gabriel coming across quickly, which he does very, very well to stop another goal potentially.
It is a corner for Aston Villa. On the near side this time, rifled in towards the near post, and a comfortable header away. There wasn't an Aston Villa player in that area. It's only cleared all the way back as far as Emi Martinez, and Villa are having more of the ball as well now, as Bellerin lets it bounce and passes back to his goalkeeper Leno, pressed by Watkins. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1 here on Premier League Live. Can Arsenal figure out a way back into contention, having only really created the one chance in the half, as well as the one that Aston Villa presented to them?
Elneny gets caught on the ball again. Great work from Watkins. We just spoke about him not having too much in the game going forward, but he's doing a brilliant defensive job for his team.
Arsenal have it in the left-back position with Saka. Tierney just puts his laces through it to clear it away, and there's nobody up top to even try and hold it up for Arsenal. It's just picked up on halfway by Tyrone Mings, not an Arsenal player within about 15 yards of it.
I think that'll be what will worry Mikel Arteta more than anything else. You know, he's got such a strong footballing philosophy, but Villa are pressing Arsenal high up the pitch, and Arsenal are just kicking it clear. They've done it several times this first half, or the first 36 minutes, and just give the ball away straight back to Aston Villa. Normally they've got enough quality in it, that's what it'll be disappointing in, that they can play through a press and still pick a pass out, but it's just a hopeless clearance. And full credit to Villa, but disappointing from an Arsenal point of view.
Despite losing the last 2 games, Villa do have 4 wins in the first 6 this season. They didn't manage their 5th win until their 19th match in the Premier League last season. That was against Norwich on Boxing Day. There's a long way to go in this one, but they're hoping to celebrate win number 5 at the start of November, a season that started late. But Bellerin's into the box at the far end. Mings missed his challenge. Bellerin pulls it back, although only to Trezeguet, who helps it out to the near side calmly. Just a bit of panic momentarily in the Aston Villa defence, but Bellerin can't make the most of it.
Well, it was a great opportunity for Arsenal. He sort of rode 2 challenges, and I think he was more surprised than anyone that he finally ended up with the ball at his feet in the Aston Villa penalty box, but he couldn't pick his pass out, just gave it straight to a Villa defender.
Grealish fails to pick his pass out at the other end as well, trying to slip it down the side. Arsenal momentarily were a bit short-handed at the back, but they escape it that time. Leno passes out under pressure from Grealish. Elneny moves it clear to Partey. He's got a pocket of space to look forward now on the half turn. Out to Saka far side as they get across halfway. Villa have to scamper back to get back behind the ball. It's Aubameyang.
Now that's better from Arsenal breaking that press and playing through, which, like I say, they haven't really done anything near enough in this first half.
They move it out to the right this time instead. Willian to attack Jack Grealish towards the corner flag, whips his cross in, really good ball from Willian, headed away at the near post, out to the edge of the box. First to the bouncing ball is Douglas Luiz. Tierney gets on it though, just off the far corner of the penalty area, and has a chance maybe to put the ball in. Aubameyang, he does that, right-footed in towards the head of Lacazette, might still come for Willian at the back post. It's the best spell of pressure perhaps in the game from Arsenal, but Aston Villa are able to clear away from their left-back position, out into touch between the 2 dugouts on the near side.
Yeah, Arsenal decent pressure, as you say, Tim, and they've got a few crosses into the box without really threatening, but better from them. But Douglas Luiz for Aston Villa, I think, is had an excellent game so far, and breaking everything up that Arsenal can throw at him, and looks really quick and snappy into the tackle. I think he's done ever so well so far.
Such an under-the-radar job, isn't it, that he has to do, but he's doing it expertly at the moment. Aubameyang, Saka reaching the ball on the byline to pull it back, and it just deflected over the head of Lacazette. Pulled back again to the edge of the knee this time. Elneny, he squares it. They're queuing up for Arsenal, and in the end it's lashed over the top by Thomas Partey, but the real chance might have been a few moments earlier. What a stop it was from Martinez, who got a big glove to the cross that looked like it was heading straight towards the forehead of Alexander Lacazette.
Yeah, he just stretched out his left hand and moved the ball off of his line, as you say, it was going towards Lacazette. Arsenal were then able to recycle the ball. Willian got it on the right hand side into Elneny, who played it square for Partey, but the ball was a little bit behind him, and the chance went and the shot went over the target and wide. But again, better from Arsenal. They've started to liven up this last, I don't know what, 5 or 6 minutes or so, look a little bit better, and I think that will give Arteta a little bit of comfort.
The first half finish line is in sight for Aston Villa. Only 5 minutes to play. It's a straight back pass from Gabriel, and having to chase the ball back almost into his own net was Bernd Leno. Just about able to reach it. He ended up himself in his net. Given away by Arsenal. Grealish moves it infield. Partey getting a foot in. 2 robust midfield players coming together as he wins the ball off Douglas Luiz, and then Arsenal win the free kick. But that was a shaky moment from Arsenal at the back.
Yeah, again, it's that high press, and they tried to pass the way through it, gave it away. Aston Villa won it and were breaking at them. Again, I think you need to give Villa full credit. They've shown such great energy.
Arsenal have worked it nicely across to the far side. Cross comes in, it's Lacazette! Oh, he was free, 10 yards out, with the goal gaping.
Should have done better.
And he heads the ball over the crossbar and runs into the advertising board and hangs his head in disappointment and frustration.
Again, Tim, it's across from Tierney down that left-hand side. I really think he's playing as left-side centre-back. He's arguably been one of Arsenal's best attacking players. Puts a fantastic ball in. Deep cross with his left foot. He's got a wonder of a left foot.
It's the top of his head, isn't it?
It's a poor header. It's a poor header because he's stooping down to head it, so there's no reason he should be heading it over the bar. He sort of stoops down, it hits the top of his head, as you say, and goes up then. But he pulled off of Tyrone Mings, inside target, and was free, and should have done a lot better than that. But a brilliant cross from Kieran Tierney.
He's got better from Arsenal, they just haven't had the finishing touch, and they still trail Aston Villa by 1-0 with 41.5 on the clock. They won't want the half-time to come right now. Aston Villa will be desperate perhaps to regroup and refocus. Here's Elneny. He's looking forward from the centre circle out towards Holding, who gets forward from the right side of the back three. Bellerin getting chalk on his boots on this near side. Dean Smith pacing up and down on the edge of his technical area with his hands in his pockets as it's switched across by Partey to Tierney, who gets forward again into a left wing position.
Yeah, as we spoke about, they play very lopsided. It's on that left-hand side. Saka comes right in field to leave Tierney to get the chalk on his boots and give them the width.
Aubameyang reaches the bouncing ball far side of the penalty area. They're still trying to get the ball in here with Tierney. Challenge put in on the far side, and it comes out to the chest of Barkley, who lays it off to Douglas Luiz. And Villa find a way out to ease the pressure. They rifle it forward, look to give Watkins something to chase. He reaches it first on his chest, then he's tugged back. The referee will let play go on as Watkins tries to let the cavalry arrive, and that's good refereeing as far as I'm concerned. It should have been a foul. In the end, Watkins then kicked through the back of the Arsenal player, but the referee Martin Atkinson knew that no advantage really materialised, and Aston Villa should and do have the free kick.
And that I think there lies the difference in this first half. Villa had the ball quite deep, and Arsenal put pressure on them, but it's a three-quarter pressure. It's not a full-on press. And then Aston Villa are able to clip the ball into Ollie Watkins, who's up against the two Arsenal centre-backs, because Tierney's got himself forward, as we spoke about, probably the highest Arsenal player on the left-hand side. And Watkins is allowed to bring the ball down comfortably. Well, that's not good enough. You're 2 against 1. One get really tight, the other one drop off.
Pressure on Arsenal here as the free kick goes all the way to the far side of the box. There's 5 black shirts in the penalty area. It was a flat cross, though, headed away by Tierney. Out to Douglas Luiz. McGinn lets it run across his body, then beats a couple of Arsenal defenders, loses his footing, still recovers the ball, though. Moves it on to Barkley. He tries to get the shot away on the turn, blocked by Elneny, just off the corner of the 6-yard box, and Arsenal this time are the team who scrambled the ball clear.
Yeah, well, you say McGinn beat the 2 Arsenal defenders. That was the 2 Arsenal holding midfield players who I was trying to big up before the game started, saying what a fantastic job they do, Elneny and Partey, and he just glided through both of them.
Approaching the final minute of the first 45, and Aston Villa seem to have weathered the little storm that came their way. Nothing like the hurricane that might be coming the way of DJ Keefe. If you were listening to us on our Twitter comments earlier, just a bit of North London rain. Villa so far ahead and approaching half-time with their 1-goal lead very much intact. Tierney has it far side of the penalty area, invites Gabriel to pass all the way across his own 18-yard box to Holding. Now Bellerin, a chance for him to move it clear from the near sideline. Arsenal not scared to pass the ball along not just their own 18-yard box, but their own byline as well. And they've worked it nicely to Tierney far side. Gamble paid off this time, but Aubameyang can only win a throw.
Not really seen anything of Saka at all as an attacking threat in this game. Hardly mentioned him other than obviously getting back in late and scoring the own goal. He's not done anything really going forward, and I mean, the best thing he's done is probably come inside and vacate the space for Tierney to get forward and deliver with some quality, but we've not seen him as an attacking threat at all, so that's quite disappointing, I think, from an Arsenal perspective.
It's the first of 3 added minutes at the end of the first 45. We had a long stoppage, of course, for the disallowed goal early on. Cross comes in, will reach Willian, and desperate defending from McGinn, getting back to stab it behind for a corner. Arsenal might still have a chance or two before the half-time interval. There was a stray header trying to clear a deflected cross from Matty Cash that time that looked to have put Aston Villa in some trouble, but McGinn cleared up facing his own goal.
Yeah, it was a good position to get back into from McGinn, and then he was able to come back towards his own goal and clear up the danger.
The corner will come in from the far side for Arsenal towards the penalty spot, headed away by Trezeguet though. Partey has to chase it back towards halfway inside his own half, even further towards the centre circle is the goalkeeper Leno. He pings it out to the far side. Trezeguet this time heads it into touch, and Arsenal have a throw halfway inside the Villa half. 2 minutes of the 3 added remaining. Villa to try and take a 1-goal lead at the Emirates into the locker room. Tierney. Just about everybody back behind the ball for Aston Villa. Gabriel to Holding as the 3 centre-backs get on it. Aston Villa will be happy enough with that. Holding edging forward, trying to chip an ambitious ball through to Bellerin. Almost a mix-up between Mings and the left-back Matt Targett. They tidy up, and it's Douglas Luiz now who goes back to his goalkeeper Martinez, who did make a big save earlier in the half to deny Thomas Partey. Grealish, first time down the line, something to chase here. They'll keep it in play, Watkins. The whole of the ball didn't cross the whole of the line. At least it didn't look like it from our angle. Although the referee has blown his whistle. The third of those 3 added minutes at the end of the first 45. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1 here on Premier League Live. Arteta keeping the same team that won at Old Trafford last week, with Partey and Elneny in the midfield. It's not worked for them at the moment, a decision that's backfired. They have a throw far side as Arteta scratches his chin. Designer stubble as he paces up and down on the edge of his technical area, contemplating his next move. Back by Trezeguet. Grealish. And Targett will clear just off the edge of his D. Clear with a purpose as well towards Douglas Luiz, but he couldn't flick it for the player who was going on ahead of him. And Arsenal now have a bit of space perhaps to exploit the final passage of play in the first half as Partey moves it out to Willian. Willian pulls it back to Bellerin, 25 yards out from goal. His deep cross to the far post. It was poor. Aubameyang was completely free. The cross didn't have the height it needed. It was headed away by Cash. And there is the half-time whistle from Martin Atkinson. What a half it's been for Aston Villa, who've had the ball in the back of the Arsenal net twice. The first goal disallowed as John McGinn rifled the ball into the top corner, but past Ross Barkley, who was stood in an offside position in front of the goalkeeper, burnt Leno. And then they did take the lead with a passing move that led to a pullback from Matt Targett to the back post, where Bukayo Saka could only tackle the ball into the back of his own net. Half-time at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale, weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talks Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Talk Sport Legion, assume Tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Arsenal against Aston Villa from the Emirates Stadium. I'm your host, Tim Long. At half-time, it is a lead for Aston Villa, and tactically Mikel Arteta has gone from hero to villain for Arsenal as the other villains lead at the Emirates. Aston Villa try and attack the goal across to our left. It's a good pass as well. It's McGinn. He rifles it home. Grealish and McGinn connect to deadly effect. What a start for Aston Villa at the Emirates. They lead Arsenal by a goal to 0 inside of a minute. It's disallowed, isn't it? But he took a long time looking at it.
But again, Tim, why such a delay? It was obvious he was in offside position. He was standing in front of the keeper. Now it's unfortunate for Villa, but it's quite an obvious decision that they're going to give it as an offside. So how does VAR take so long and become such a massive talking point again?
It's Barkley, slips it in behind. They've worked it wonderfully. Far post, it's in. Targett, what a goal that is for Aston Villa. Arsenal have worked it nicely across to the far side. Cross comes in, it's Lacazette. Oh, he was free, 10 yards out. Yeah, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1. Kit Simons, the former Crystal Palace, Fulham and Manchester City defender, alongside me for this one. And Kit, the chances came, didn't they, for Arsenal late on, but before that, the opening 40 minutes of the game, you have to say that the Aston Villa game plan worked to perfection. Very, very well. Dean Smith will be absolutely delighted. As you said, Arsenal came back into the game probably the last 15 minutes, so that will give him food for thought, and they'll know they'll need to really be on their toes to keep this clean sheet that they've worked so hard for up to now. So, but overall he's got to be absolutely delighted. I thought they played very well. Villa looked in good shape, looked very well organised, and looked a threat going forward as well. And as we mentioned in that first half commentary, safe to say that the decision from Mikel Arteta to stick with the same team that won at Old Trafford last week, you can understand his reason for that, but the decision hasn't paid off, has it? Because they haven't had that defensive solidity you would expect from that lineup, and at the same time they've lacked the creativity that they might have had with the Dani Ceballos, for example, in the midfield. Well, that's right, Tim, and I expected, and we talked about it, they might not have that creativity. That's fair enough, but what it should give you is certainly that be resolute and be strong and almost impenetrable, but they weren't. And Villa got through them far too easy. They looked a little bit low on energy, I thought, at times, Arsenal, and certainly the Aston Villa goal, it's like 3v3 in a wide area, and no one's really laying a glove on any of the Villa players. They're all sitting off, very, very passive, and you can't do that at this level. You're asking for trouble, and ultimately ended up in a goal. Now, the earlier game today, the big game of the day, of course, at the Etihad was Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1, and we can hear after that from the two managers, Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp and first Manchester City's Pep Guardiola.
It was tight, we knew it, top team, top class team, but we did incredible well too. So with the situation that we have, but in general we are so satisfied for the way we played and the point that we have.
The biggest challenge tonight was for Sadio and Diogo, really acting like a third or fourth midfielder, especially in these half spaces. And there's one moment before the goal, it's like we are not back yet. Tierney press outside, there's one gap, in that gap Kevin De Bruyne gets the ball, goes in the box, and then it happened.
Yeah, Kit, we heard Jurgen Klopp talking about it there in terms of a slight change of system today from Liverpool that worked really well in terms of their attacking play earlier in the game, but it was also part of the reason that Manchester City equalised. How did you find that from them in terms of going with Diogo Jota to add to the usual front three and changing to more of a 4-2-3-1 formation?
Well, that's right. Everyone was, I think there's a lot of speculation in the build-up. Was it going to be Firmino or was it going to be Jota? And I don't think too many people had predicted that he would change his actual system and play both of them. And like I say, again, it's a tactical one. You look at it, he's probably thinking these are two very, very important players. Obviously, Jota is in incredible form, but he realises how important Firmino is to the team and to allow, Sane and all the other players to go and play and do so well. So he tried to get them both in, and I don't know, listen, you would maybe say that's not quite worked out then, because that played a part maybe in the Manchester City goal. But it was a bold move, and you can certainly understand why he did it.
Certainly another option that Liverpool now have in their arsenal. And some interesting comments coming off the back of that 1-1 draw at the Etihad as well from the two managers. Jurgen Klopp feels like this international break that we're about to head into shouldn't happen.
These boys are on the edge. That's how it is, and we cannot do it different. If we come here today and play with 3% less, we lose 5-0. So, and not sure if City plays with less, they lose. So it's what you have to do. You cannot not run on the pitch when the opponent is demanding it. So now it's international break. This should not be allowed that even one player plays 3 games or whatever. Gareth must be in it and stuff like this. All the coaches must be in. Really, these boys need rest.
Yeah, just off the back of that as well, Pep Guardiola was saying that 5 substitutes should be allowed in the Premier League to kind of take the ease off the players in terms of the fixture congestion as well, something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I know, has said in recent days as well. What do you make of all that, Kit?
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that they go away now, and the last international break, there's 3 fixtures instead of just the normal 2. So the last thing I think with what's going on that we need is an extra game chucked in there at international level. So that makes it very difficult. I do understand and sympathise with the Premier League managers, why they're so worried about their players, and we've already seen the increase in soft muscle injuries, and player safety is the first and the most important thing, and clearly that's not being taken into account really with the way the fixtures are falling, and again the extra international games and things like that. So I would have thought an extra or the extra 2 substitutes to 5 subs would make sense purely for player safety. This is not a normal season by any stretch.
That is going to be a big issue this season, isn't it? But the big issue at the Emirates for Arsenal is they trail by a 0-0 at half-time against Aston Villa. The second half is coming up shortly. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman,
mid-morning news team assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me, I was
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1 from the Emirates Stadium. I'm your host, Tim Long. Alongside me, former Crystal Palace, Fulham and Manchester City defender Kit Simons. This is Premier League Live. We're just waiting for the two sets of players to make their way back out of the tunnel here in North London. On the monitor in front of me, you can see Arsenal emerging. Aston Villa running out as well on the opposite side and being put through their paces to try and stay warm and fresh in the cold rain that's hammering down on the outskirts of the capital. So we'll look to see what changes Mikel Arteta makes for Arsenal to try and change the flow of this game as well. Plenty of options for him on the bench. Dani Ceballos, Nicolas Pepe, Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
I think Ceballos will be on. Yeah, Ceballos will be coming on certainly, and it looks like for Partey.
It is indeed Dani Ceballos, the man on loan from Real Madrid for a second season in succession. Impressed with Arsenal last season. He's on. That perhaps is, I think, the change in personnel that many might have expected from the start, at least in terms of Dani Ceballos being in the midfield rather than one of the holding midfield players. But I think you'd expect it to be Elneny to make way rather than Partey. Confirm the full lineups to you in just a moment, but the competition for the top four and the Champions League places in the Premier League is fierce. We've seen Manchester United come from a goal down to win at Goodison. We saw Chelsea come from a goal down to win at home yesterday, and we saw Manchester City come from a goal down to get a point against Liverpool, of course. Can Arsenal come from behind as the second half gets underway here? They trail by a 0-0 against Aston Villa.
You think Ceballos, Tim, will certainly get Arsenal playing a bit more on the ball, but he's not exactly an all-energy player. Now, they need to show collectively a lot more energy than they did in that first half as well. Now, I'd imagine that Mikel Arteta gave them a bit of a blast at half-time and told them in no uncertain terms, they need to show a bit more energy, a bit more drive, play on the front foot, as well as then being more comfortable on the ball and creating more. They need to do the dirty side of it a bit better than they did in that first half.
Barkley has the ball in the right wing position. I'll run you through the lineups in just a moment. Aston Villa at the moment on the attack as they skim it across to the far side to Targett, who set up the goal, which was turned into his own net by Bukayo Saka. The ball goes back into the Aston Villa half to the two centre-backs. For Arsenal now, it's Leno in goal, a back three of Holding, Gabriel and Tierney, Bellerin and Saka the wing-backs, Elneny and Ceballos in midfield. Partey's made way, and Willian and Aubameyang either side of Lacazette up top. For Aston Villa, Martinez, the goal, has made a big save one-on-one from Partey on his return to the Emirates, and in front of him it's the steady front line of Targett, Mings, or back line rather, of Targett, Mings, Konsa and Cash, with the midfield of Douglas, Luiz and McGinn, who had a goal ruled out in the opening minute for offside, and then Ross, Barkley, Trezeguet and Grealish behind the striker Ollie Watkins. Arsenal having all of the ball at the moment, but not going anywhere with it on the edge of their penalty area as they move it to Tierney. And back then to Gabriel as they shift around into almost like a four at the back as Tierney comes into a left back position. Just keep our eye on that. It might well be a change of shape from Arsenal as well. Elneny prods it forward, looks to play a 1-2, but the ball's presented back to Douglas Luiz, and he pokes it to Tyrone Mings, who will go all the way back to Martinez.
Yeah, it looks like Aubameyang's playing more central, certainly, so maybe more an orthodox 4-4-2.
McGinn does well to swivel away on halfway from Elneny and to move it to Jack Grealish, who's striding forward towards the edge of the penalty area, trying to poke it through to Watkins. Barkley takes it down in the D, turns it on wonderfully well to Trezeguet, who stings the palms of Bernd Leno, who pushes around his near post and out and behind for a corner.
Good play again from Aston Villa. Got Trezeguet in down the right hand side inside the penalty box, and he smashed it really hard, and it was rising towards that near post of Bernd Leno. He just managed to get his hands up in time, but really ferocious shot. I mean, you would look at it because of the height of it, the keeper should save it, but it was hit so ferociously that it was still a decent save.
Great awareness from Barkley as well to pick him out when he shaped to shoot. Like he had eyes in the back of his head, hooked it around to Trezeguet. And Barkley will take the corner. It's flicked on by Watkins at the near post, but nobody arriving for Aston Villa at the back post as Arsenal steer it away. Positive start to the second half for the away side here, despite the offensive changes from Arsenal in terms of their tactical shape and the personnel.
Yeah, and a shaky start from Arsenal defensively, certainly, and change of shape certainly doesn't seem to have improved at the moment, and Aston Villa got in all too easy. That previous attack where Trezeguet had that stinging shot saved by Leno.
Passing out from the back, Villa, but they've given it away here. Aubameyang's on the right side of the penalty area. Lacazette making his move in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Willian trailing behind, unguarded, tried to hit it on the volley, didn't catch it cleanly, and it bobbles and bounces through the 6-yard box and away at the far side without a touch. He was appealing for a corner, but it is instead a goal kick.
Yeah, better from Arsenal. Aubameyang has now come more central, as we said, looking to link up with Lacazette. Arsenal actually managed to nick the ball. Good cross in. Aubameyang come to Willian, and he just pulled his shot. He sort of rushed it a little bit, snatched at it and pulled it, and it went quite safely wide, but better from Arsenal.
Arsenal have won 10 of their last 12 games in all competitions here at the Emirates. Their only blemish is coming against Leicester. A 1-0 defeat 3 weeks ago and a 1-1 draw in July against the same opponents. They trail by a 0-0 here, and out on the edge of his D was the goalkeeper Leno to volley clear. One in the air by Douglas Luiz, headed back towards halfway by Arsenal. Douglas Luiz wins a header again, this time up shoulder to shoulder with Willian mid-air.
Brilliant from Douglas Luiz there. He smashes Lacazette in one challenge, then goes up with, I think it was Willian, and wins another header. Really good play from him. He had an excellent first half, and he started the second half in a similar vein.
A real illustration of the way Aston Villa have approached this, full of commitment, physicality, but also quality. McGinn, he's bundled down to the floor, but the ball was won as far as Martin Atkinson is concerned, and Arsenal might look to spring on a counter here, but Aston Villa showing their urgency and energy again to try and get players back behind the ball as it comes to Saka on the near side. His cross was low and poor and turned away by Cash, who is then invited to clear by his teammate Trezeguet. Yeah, so towards Watkins, but he can't control.
Wouldn't be surprised very soon to see another Arsenal change. I think maybe potentially Pepe on for Saka would be one that would certainly I think Mikel Arteta will be thinking about.
Here's Gabriel. Dani Ceballos, who was the change at half-time, tries to move it on, but Trezeguet working hard to catch up with the space and block the passing lane, and it deflects away off his shins and out for an Arsenal throw. 6 minutes into the second half, it remains Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1, as it was at half-time. Arsenal fired a blank, of course, in the last league game here against Leicester, but they'd scored in a series of games here before that, and such a good record at home. They've not failed to score in back-to-back home Premier League games since February of 2016. As Watkins spins away from Elneny here, gets away from Willian as well. Grealish, far corner of the penalty area. Barkley in the box, trying to pirouette, trying to get his cross in, but he's stuck to all the way by Holding. Arsenal try and clear, but Douglas Luiz is there again, albeit conceding a free kick this time, just off the edge of the Arsenal box.
Brilliant play from Ollie Watkins early on in that move there. Such good, really good, strong centre-forward play. Great feet, beat a couple of Arsenal defenders and laid the ball off securely. Really, really good forward play.
52 on the clock. Aston Villa in control at the moment.
Yeah, as I just said, I think they need to shake it up. Arsenal, obviously Ceballos coming on at half-time. You've got Nketiah, Pepe on the bench. I think things need to be done quite soon if this doesn't improve in the next 5 minutes or so. I think certainly by the 60-minute mark, I think we could see one of those two, if not both of them, coming on.
It's the energy, organisation and fitness and focus of Aston Villa that's really keeping Arsenal at bay here. Can they do that for the full 90 minutes, you wonder? Or can Arsenal change the dynamic? As Mikel Arteta has already tried to do, but to no avail so far. It might change here though, because Dani Ceballos, the substitute, picks out Tierney, completely free on the near side. He'll get his cross in low into the 6-yard box and turned away really well by Konsa, who was facing his own goal.
Yeah, the two centre-halves for Aston Villa, I don't think Arsenal have put them under anything like enough pressure, but they've done really well so far. They've looked really solid, and Konsa with good positional play and an interception at the near post.
We've hardly mentioned Konsa and Mings through the game, apart from maybe when they've just had the ball at their feet and been able to pass it around at the back.
It's a great sign for centre-halves. It means they've done their jobs really well and been comfortable. Which, great from their point of view, but, Arsenal at the Emirates should be putting them under a lot more pressure than they have done.
They'll try and do that here as it goes across to the far side. Willian making a burst towards the edge of the box, forced away by McGinn. Grealish is back there defending for Aston Villa as well. They very much have defended as a team. Here's Dani Ceballos in the centre of the Villa half. Arsenal attacking the goal across to our left as it comes out to Saka. His own goal separates the two sides. He skips away from Trezeguet, who's trying to get back at him and had to be really careful. He was tugging back Saka as Saka entered the penalty area. The referee Martin Atkinson has given the decision in Arsenal's favour, but it's only a free kick on the edge of the box.
That's the first time in the game I think we've really seen Saka look to take someone on in one-on-one situations and beat his man, and he skipped past Trezeguet. He's got his real talent. I really like him as a player. I think he's had a very quiet game today, mine, but suddenly it looks like he's coming to life a little bit.
Like very intelligent defending from Trezeguet, because he tugged him back outside the box, then let go of him as he went into the box and won the tackle. But the tug was spotted, and rightly so. It's an Arsenal free kick on the near side. Either that or Trezeguet got very lucky. It'll be taken by Willian, who passes to the edge of the D again. It's Dani Ceballos to strike it, curling from 25 yards, but not curling enough as it bounced in the 6-yard box and wide of the post.
Well, that looks very similar to the free kick they tried in the first half, Tim, but this time it looked better planned and actually did what they were meant to do. Came into Tierney, who knew he was meant to set it back square, but I think that option went for him in the first half, and the ball got stuck under his feet. But close, decent effort for Arsenal there.
McGinn turning out of pressure halfway inside his own half, very strong as well as he shrugs off the challenge of Lacazette, who was trying to press him. McGinn again, across to the far side. Targett, the left back, slips it down the line, a chance to turn and to play it on one further to Barkley from Grealish, and Grealish is busting a gut to get into the penalty area, back on the ball on the byline, lovely footwork, Grealish! Oh, it was fantastic play from Aston Villa over on the left flank as they sliced right through Arsenal, and Jack Grealish on a tight angle tried to rifle it across goal towards the far top corner, and judging by his reaction, it was mightily close.
Yeah, brilliant play from Aston Villa. It all comes with forward runs off the ball. So Ross Barkley runs forward to start with, then Jack Grealish Grealish runs forward as well without the ball. Great bit of skill to check back inside Rob Holding. Goes to whip it towards the far post, and it's just an arm up from Leno to put it wide for a corner. But
it was a very good save from Leno.
Really good play from Villa again.
Barkley off the resulting corner. Douglas Luiz towards the back post. They've got players arriving here, Aston Villa, and it was an opportunity to pull it back into the danger zone, but Tyrone Mings got the ball caught between his feet, and it goes behind. 56 minutes played, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1. May well still be the Villa corner over on the far side this time, as they have an opportunity to keep the pressure on as the rain continues to hammer down at the Emirates.
Blue!
There was a check of the VAR maybe for a push that saw Konsa hit the floor, but the corner comes in. It's Grealish on the volley. Oh, he struck it so sweetly from the edge of the box, but it was blocked by an Arsenal body before it reached the goal of Leno.
Absolutely fabulous strike. Again, really difficult technique. The corner was pulled back to Grealish on the edge of the box. He caught it so sweet. I'm not sure. I think Ceballos it hit, which struck him right in the midriff and took the wind out of his sails. But a really brilliant strike. Great
Trezeguet just wins the ball back and then goes sliding in to win it a second time as well. And Aston Villa are very much on top here.
Certainly are. Again, the energy you expect, because they must have used up so much energy in that first half, but they look really strong and fit. And that's the great thing in football, I think, is if you're working hard and pressing all the time, you're getting success from it. You seem to be able to just keep going, and certainly Aston Villa are here, and they're playing really well tonight.
Here's Douglas Luiz, who's been a key part of that, deflected towards the edge of the Arsenal D, but doesn't break for Watkins or Barkley, so Arsenal move it out to Saka on the near side. Saka again, but back in a left-back position, and Jack Grealish goes sliding right through him. In fact, it wasn't Jack Grealish, I beg your pardon, but it was a crunching challenge on the near side of Bukayo Saka. He was forced back into more of a defensive position that time. It is Jack Grealish who has almost scored a second for Aston Villa on 2 occasions over the last few minutes, and what a thumping volley it was from the corner that absolutely wiped out Kieran Tierney.
Oh, it's Tierney, it hit him flush as well. He did well to get up from that, to be fair. But the previous attack where Grealish has that excellent shot, you really see, I mean, everyone talks about his skill on the ball and his he can see a pass, but his athleticism was fantastic in that as well. He burst forward, left the Arsenal defence for dead, run forward without the ball, and he looks like he's loving playing with Ross Barkley at the moment as well. These two are on the same wavelength and look to find each other at every opportunity and link up really well. So again, we speak about the balance of a team, and these two players certainly look like they love playing together.
And Ceballos slaloming forward finds Lacazette. Aubameyang in a central position. McGinn gets his body between the Arsenal striker and the ball, though, and wins it back. And Aston Villa can look to break. That's the pattern of the game as far as they're concerned now, as Douglas Luiz comes forward. Outside of him, there's options as well. Barkley's making a burst into the box. The shot is blocked from Ollie Watkins. But every time Arsenal give the ball away, that counter-attack is an option now for Aston Villa, who still look like they've got plenty of gas left in the tank.
Yeah, they do look really dangerous. Ollie Watkins on that occasion, he then cut back inside the Arsenal back four. Rob Holding especially looks like he's having quite a tough night at the minute, and they're really focusing coming down that side, that left side, inside left channel of the pitch is clearly something that they've scouted, they've worked on, and they've pinpointed as an Arsenal weakness.
Bellerin coming forward, far side of the penalty area, slides down, turns the ball almost into the path of Lacazette, and Targett had to get back on the corner of his 6-yard box to put it behind with his left boot as we hit the hour mark at the Emirates, where it remains Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 1. Both teams starting to offer something as it becomes more of a back and forth game now. And Arsenal have the corner. You might be able to hear on our FX microphones the rain hammering down. It's very heavy in North London. Willian will take the corner, right-footed and out-swinging from the far side. All those conditions make it harder for Aston Villa to defend this. Pack the 6-yard box. And a few lurking on the edge as well. They break out to the 6-yard box as it comes deep to Gabriel. They didn't really do anything with it, Arsenal. Back out to Dani Ceballos. Gabriel on the near corner of the penalty area. Drives it in and turns towards goal. Well, that was close. It wasn't really by design. It was not pretty football from Arsenal, but it was very nearly effective as centre-back found centre-back. Gabriel to Holding, but he couldn't finish like a centre-forward.
No, he's probably the last person in a red shirt who Mikel Arteta wanted to see that ball fall to on the left foot was Rob Holding. I mean, it's decent, half-decent effort from him, to be fair. He had to, it was a snapshot, but it was quite comfortably wide of Emi Martinez's post in the end.
Taken down and held up really well by Ollie Watkins here, who holds off Holding and then gets it back from Grealish, entering the far side of the penalty area. Watkins moving towards the byline, pulls it back towards Barkley. It's Ross Barkley if he can fashion the shot. He just couldn't shake off a couple of Arsenal defenders in front of him. But every time Aston Villa come forward, they look capable of adding a second goal.
Yeah, again, great strength and skill shown there from Ollie Watkins. Again, down that inside left channel for Aston Villa. And, another good opportunity.
Ceballos to Elneny. The game really stretched now. And there perhaps is an example of the difficult conditions. It was a poor attempt to control on the far side, but the ball just slipping under the boot of Bukayo Saka and out for an Aston Villa throw. 62 minutes in. Mikel Arteta's looking a little bit more uncomfortable now as he readies a few more changes.
There's Pepe getting his shirt on. I mean, Saka's now moved to that right hand side, which obviously is natural for Pepe to come on to. It looks like Nketiah is going to come on as well. So I think it's be a double substitution and last row of the dice for Arsenal, but they do need to shake things up.
Of course, just the 3 substitutions allowed still in the Premier League, 5 in some of the other major leagues around Europe. It's a point of contention at the moment this weekend, with the international break coming up as well and plenty of injuries. Here's Aubameyang trying to connect with his strike partner Lacazette. His pass was off the mark, but he was fouled as he played it. So Arsenal have a free kick about in the centre of the Aston Villa half.
Yeah, really good refereeing from Martin Atkinson there. There's a foul initially on Elneny, who did really, really well to break up the play and win the ball back from Aston Villa, and he got fouled in doing so, but then he managed to play it forward to Aubameyang, who then got subsequently fouled higher up the pitch. But I think he's had a really good game, Martin Atkinson, actually. He's let the game flow, and I think he's managed it and refereed it really well so far.
Nketiah is just receiving his final instructions from Mikel Arteta, as is Nicola Pepe. More of a motivational pat on the back to Pepe. An Arsenal free kick that Willian will take. It goes short to Dani Ceballos, who turns it in, but it's low and flat and not particularly a good delivery. We've seen a number like that from Arsenal in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, they're not particularly big, Arsenal, to be honest, and you don't really fancy them to score direct from a corner or from a free kick, but they could show a bit more imagination, I think.
Really good challenge, sliding across 5 yards of soggy grass from Matty Cash back towards his byline as Aubameyang threatened to get in behind on the left. He turns the ball away on this near side, and Arsenal will make the changes now. We'll see who's making way. Willian is one of the 2 who will come off. Nicola Pepe and Eddie Nketiah both coming on. Who else will be withdrawn? It's Alexander Lacazette. And that is it as far as Mikel Arteta is concerned in terms of the changes of personnel he can make. 25 minutes plus added time to try and come from a goal down against Aston Villa. What do you make of those changes, Kit Simons?
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't Saka coming off. I think he's been very quiet today, but the actual 2 boys coming on is a no-brainer for me. I mean, the only thing with it is that they've got now great pace and legs and energy, Arsenal, but Villa have defended fairly deep and really, really well, so I'm not sure if the pace is going to necessarily cause that many problems, but these are talented footballers as well who've come on, so we shall see.
Low cross again into the box for Arsenal, stabbed away by Aston Villa. They've got 2 players rolling around inside their own penalty area trying to defend that one. Barkley can't hold it up, and then he takes it off him, moves it across to the far side, and this seems to be the structure of the game now for the final 25 minutes. Arsenal with all 10 of their outfield players camped in the Aston Villa half. Tierney gets forward from the left back position, whips it in, low again, turned away, only as far as the edge of the box, and it was Elneny who struck it really well. It might have been heading on the half volley to the bottom corner, and I think in front of goal it was blocked by one of his teammates.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was not sure it was who it struck, but Is Nketiah. Yeah, it looked like it was going on target as well. Really well struck shot from Elneny, and it just struck Nketiah. Yeah. Oh, actually, from this angle now, seeing it looked like it was probably going wide, but it certainly hit Nketiah anyway, and then went to safety.
Arsenal looking a little bit more lively though going forward as we approach the midway point of the second half. Will it be enough? We'll have to wait and see. They brought on Eddie Nketiah, the 21-year-old who's got 3 goals in 13 appearances in all competitions this season, including a late winner in the Premier League against West Ham. He'll hope he can do it off the bench again. And Nicola Pepe, who scored 8 and set up 10 in his debut season in England. He's got 3 goals and 2 assists already this season, despite starting just 6 of his 12 appearances. We do have a stoppage at the moment for an Aston Villa injury concern. They're yet to make a change. It's an opportunity for all of the players on both sides to go across to the 2 benches, get some refreshments, and perhaps more significantly some instructions to try and navigate the final 25 minutes.
Yeah, Matty Cash has just gone down with a bit of a knock for Aston Villa, but I'm not sure it's bad at all, to be honest, and I think it's clever play because it's been able to slow the play down for Aston Villa, as you said, so they can get to the bench and get some more instructions and just regroup and take the sting out of the game a little bit, because Arsenal was starting to build momentum, get on top, and Villa will just be looking to keep breaking it down now.
A really important opportunity for Dean Smith to perhaps offer some instructions to his team as to how to deal with the change of personnel and change of shape from Arsenal. Arsenal have it with Elneny on halfway. Bellerin slips it forward in behind Nketiah. Is he onside here as he turns to face goal? Forced away by Mings. Arriving is Pepe, and he couldn't guide it with any real power or precision. But Nketiah might have been in one-on-one had his touch been better.
Yeah, no, he was way offside, Tim, and obviously the linesmen have got to keep their flags down now. So, but once the ball did go into the keeper's hands, he did then put his flag up to acknowledge it would have been offside. So it's one of those frustrating moments that you're never quite sure. But the initial run was a poor one, really. He went way too early and was offside by a considerable distance.
Arsenal have it again. They are starting to dominate possession across the midway point of the second half, and facing the prospect of not scoring in back-to-back games at the Emirates for the first time since early 2016. They were unbeaten here through the whole of this calendar year until Jamie Vardy struck 10 minutes from time in the last game here. We've got bodies in the penalty area again, slipped through by Bellerin towards Nketiah. Mings trying to get all over him. Pepe whips it in and lashed it from the far corner of the penalty area with his left boot, curling towards the far corner, but again not curling enough.
No, but decent effort. They look dangerous and they're getting shots on. Obviously that was just slightly off target, but more energy and more intent shown then from Arsenal. But I mean, if Aston Villa were to hold on, it's 20 odd minutes to go plus a little whatever stoppage time, scored 7 against Liverpool and got an emphatic victory there. They've beaten Leicester at the top of the league. They can now go and beat Arsenal. What a start to the season this could be for Aston Villa. When we talk about just how they were literally hanging on and just about kept Premier League status last season. So the turnaround has been brilliant, and you've got to give Dean Smith an awful lot of credit.
I feel they'll need to dig deep though for these final 20 minutes as they give the ball away, and they're not really keeping hold of it now in the Arsenal half. And Nketiah, how much have they got left as Aubameyang tries to chase it through the centre, but it's forced back in the end to Martinez, who's 20 minutes away from a clean sheet on his return to the Emirates.
See, again, we didn't even mention his name there, Tim, but that's excellent defending from Konsa again. He gets his body in between the ball and Aubameyang to allow it just to run back to Martinez. But really, really solid defending from him today. I've been very, very impressed with him.
It was a really good pass as well as he steered it across to the far side to Targett, down the line to Grealish. A chance for him to turn and run at the edge of the penalty area. Targett gets it in. It'll deflect off the back of the legs of Bellerin and behind for an Aston Villa corner over on the far side.
I mean, it's one of them. You look at the two teams and you look at the Aston Villa players at the moment, and you go through the team and you say a lot of these have played really, really well. good performances. You know, then you look at Arsenal and they've played all right, most of these Arsenal players. So although it's still a very, very close game with one goal in it, you look and you think the Aston Villa players will probably at the moment be a lot happier with themselves than a lot of these Arsenal boys will.
Nobody in the area at the near post where the corner came in, apart from Arsenal's Gabriel to head clear. Only as far as the edge of the centre circle, though. Here's Douglas Luiz. He hangs it back into the far side of the box towards Barkley, arriving on the volley. And what a touch that is from Ross Barkley to put it on the plate for Ollie Watkins, who heads home the Premier League rookie's 5th goal in 7 since arriving in the top flight, as he arrived right in front of goal to double Aston Villa's advantage, and the foundation shaken at Fortress Emirates. It's Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 2.
Well, that is an absolutely brilliant goal, and again it's that left-hand channel, the inside left channel. Great ball. Douglas Luiz hits a diagonal, and it comes to Ross Barkley, and he takes it on the volley first time. Really, really difficult technique. I can't stress how much quality Ross Barkley shows to control this volley across the goal. Completely takes Leno out of the equation. Ollie Watkins is full tilt, gets in front of Gabriel and just heads it into the net. But brilliant goal from Aston Villa. That is top quality.
Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, who have offered very little here today, in deep trouble now. 2 goals down at home with 18 minutes of the 90 to play. They have been rattled because they've lost the ball again, and Barkley is going through into the penalty area. Watkins is in support again, lets it run. It's Grealish at the back post for 3, steered off the line, out to the edge of the penalty area to Douglas Luiz. Barkley might still have a chance, hangs it back to Grealish, he cushions it down, volleys again, blocked by Bellerin once more, and Arsenal are barely breathing here at the Emirates as they survive that scare. Back in again towards Watkins from McGinn. It's not over yet for Arsenal, the storm that's coming their way. Watkins controls it by the corner flag and waits for Barkley. Slips it into the corner of the box. And at the moment, it's Aston Villa who look the more likely in terms of getting the 3rd goal of the game. Arsenal are all over the place, Kit.
They certainly are. I mean, it's really poor from Arsenal. But again, you've got to give full credit to Aston Villa. Really good play and great passage there. And they burst forward. They created an overload. Arsenal slow to get back in, and the ball comes out. I'm not sure he actually took the shot, but it's going right into the corner of the goal. And Dani Ceballos is on the line to clear it off the line for Arsenal. Otherwise, it would have been 3-0. But literally hanging on Arsenal here. Villa look excellent. Ross Barkley pulling the strings. He's had a really good game, as is Jack Grealish, as is Douglas Luiz. You know, there's numerous Aston Villa players here who've been excellent.
Just when we thought momentum was shifting Arsenal's way for the final stretch, and we thought Aston Villa might just have to dig their heels in defensively, sit behind the ball and soak up Arsenal pressure to try and get the 3 points, they pounced, scored the 2nd and very nearly scored the 3rd. And once again they've found a second wind and they're all over Arsenal. What a clearance on the line from Dani Ceballos to give Arsenal faint hope.
Yeah, it was Jack Grealish who took the shot again from that inside left channel, fired it into the bottom, or towards the bottom corner, and a really good block from Ceballos. But yeah, poor from Arsenal. Started with Trezeguet winning the ball.
Tierney gets a cross in from the near side, but it's grabbed by Martinez, who's desperate for that clean sheet, and in fact he's thirsty for more going forward as he bowls it out straight away towards Grealish, who's racing down the left flank, still full of energy. It's Watkins on his left foot. It's 3 for Aston Villa. They have torn Arsenal apart in North London tonight. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3. Ollie Watkins with a couple. 6 in 7 for him now in the Premier League, and Arsenal do not know what has hit them.
A brilliant goal again. I mean, but Arsenal at 6 and 7, so you know, Villa are 2-0 up. Arsenal break, they put a cross in. Villa are not sitting back, they're going for it again. And I spoke about Grealish's athleticism earlier. He burst forward and took 3 or 4 Arsenal players out of the game, plays it to Ollie Watkins, who's still got an awful lot to do on his left foot. But again, it's down this inside left channel. But if Watkins doesn't score, he can just square it for Ross Barkley to tap it in at the back post anyway. So it's a really good break, and it was a good finish. Left foot through Leno's legs, which will disappoint him and Arteta. But Again, it's such a good break at pace from Aston Villa, and Arsenal just didn't have any answer to it.
3 goals and surely now 3 points for Aston Villa. It'll be 5 wins in 7 to start the Premier League season for them, after surviving by just a point last season. And what a start to life in the top flight for Ollie Watkins as well. He got a hat-trick in that 7-2 win against Liverpool, won last week in the defeat against Southampton. He scored against Bristol City and Burton in the League Cup this season as well, and now a brace here at the Emirates as Aston Villa lead by 3 goals to 0 with 14 of the 90 to play.
I think everyone thought it was an absolute complete freak result, the 7-2 against Liverpool, and that can't happen. That's just one of those things that happen once in a blue moon and total freak. But then to follow up with a 1-0 win against Leicester, and now 3-0 against Arsenal, fair play, you got to say, full credit to Aston Villa.
And Aston Villa have the ball again with Trezeguet. Conceded possession though to Arsenal. Saka, whose own goal gave Villa the lead early on, but it was such a well-worked move from Aston Villa, who've done so well for all 3 of their goals. Defended well too as Mings slides down at the feet of Aubameyang, and it deflects for Jack Grealish, who's still so full of running, going through the gears over on the left flank and dragging his studs over the ball, looking to toy with the Arsenal defender Hector Bellerin. Gives it to Barkley. He uses his power and his nifty footwork to slice into the penalty area now, and his left foot deflected away and behind for a corner, and it looks like it could get even worse for Arsenal.
Again, Barkley and Grealish linking up, both of them have been fantastic today, but the way they look for each other, link up, brilliant from both of them. Great feat from Ross Barkley in the end to glide past 2 Arsenal players. But like I say, there've been to a man really. I think you look for the whole Aston Villa side, they've all been sort of at least 8 at the high 7, 8 out of 10s. They've been excellent to a man.
And as a team, in terms of their performance and organisation, their link-up play, everything about it has been exceptional from Aston Villa as the corner comes in from the near side, over the head of Mings. Trezeguet can't get his head to it, and it goes out to play for an Arsenal throw on the near side with just 12 minutes of the 90 to play here on Premier League Live. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3. It's yet another of those crazy results this season. There has been many. This is what the Premier League is all about. Anybody can beat anybody, anywhere, on any given day.
But you've got to say, Tim, as well, Villa deserved the 3-0 lead, really. Arsenal have not offered too much, and not too many of their boys have played particularly well. And Villa have deserved this. They've been excellent, taken their chances really well when they've come. Conceded a lot of possession to Arsenal. It was almost, 60-40 first half possession. But Arsenal never hurt them, never got in behind them. Didn't really cause them any problems at all. Lacazette should have scored, really, with a header. That was it. Then the chance for Partey was a poor back pass from McGinn. Not created anything second half, and just not been good enough. But full credit must go to Aston Villa, who have been absolutely brilliant, I think. And like I say, to a man, as individuals, and the whole game plan, the collective team, the spirit, the closing, the pressing, the energy, everything's been real top draw from them today.
No doubt about it, they have been superb. Aston Villa thoroughly deserving of this 3-goal lead, which I don't think flatters them at all, as Grealish wins yet another free kick, the most foul player in the Premier League last season. They take it quickly, they've got a spring in their step, full of confidence and seemingly unlimited energy as they move it around and pass it away down the right flank. Something to chase in the channel for Barkley. The bounce was a bit heavy for him, but he might still get in behind Gabriel, who lost the flight to the ball momentarily. Recovers to steer it away towards the near side, but cashes all over Saka on the high press, wins it back on the near side, and Arsenal can't get out of their own half. They can't get the ball. Ceballos trying to do just that by his own corner flag, and does win an Arsenal throw.
I felt at times last year, watching Aston Villa, the game plan was just get it to Jack Grealish, and then Jack's sort of on his own. And I think he felt like that. He looked like that quite often in body language in some of the games. This season now he's got like sort of Ross Barkley and Ollie Watkins around him. And he just looks so much happier. He's linking up with players, and he's playing better. Anyway, but he's linking up with other players and giving goes, and they look a completely different team altogether. The whole dynamic.
Konsa, the centre-back, just tried to play a 1-2 on the edge of the Arsenal box. That shows you how confident and how fluid Aston Villa are at the moment. They have given it away, though. Pepe comes forward over on the right side of the Villa penalty area, but it's won back by Targett.
But also, what was great with that team, as you say, Konsa's come out of his shape, gone forward, trying to play a 1-2 on the edge of the Arsenal box. But then John McGinn slots straight into centre-back for Aston Villa. You know, it is fluid, and people are putting their bodies on the line and very organised to keep the shape. And, you know, if one comes out of shape, someone else slots in. It's quite a fluid machine.
They lead at Arsenal by 3-0, 9 of the 90 to play. Elneny trying to hold off McGinn, who's continuing to harass from that midfield position. Out to the far side it goes for Arsenal. Elneny has it in space, but there's no space in front of him, so he goes back to Dani Ceballos, whose introduction at half-time was meant to change the game in Arsenal's favour. It hasn't done that at all, nor have the subsequent changes, as Aubameyang can't control on the edge of the 18-yard box, and Villa hammer out into touch. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang facing the prospect of not scoring in 4 straight home games for the first time since 2014 when he played for Dortmund, but there might be a chance for Arsenal here, and Nketiah on the turn, and it deflects away off Tyrone Mings and behind for an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, good defending from Mings there. It looks like he's got a problem with his hands, ball bounced up or something, but good defending. He gets really tight to Nketiah, doesn't let him turn, and when he does get a half turn in, he's there to block the shot. Good defending.
Pepe will get the cross in after they took it short, headed away again by Mings, only as far as Bellerin, who rifled it against Trezeguet. It winded him and knocked him down. He's rolling around on the edge of the D. They'll still counter-attack though, Aston Villa, although Barkley can't control. And perhaps they'll feel now like they should have just kicked the ball into touch. He's back on his feet though, Trezeguet. Here's Aubameyang on the near side, looking to work a bit of space on his right foot. 82.5 played. Aubameyang gets it back, gives it to Dani Ceballos near edge of the penalty area. He's looking to the far side of the box. Well, there's a bit of space for Bellerin, but the pass was over the top of him, forced him back towards the corner flag, where Targett did a good job of getting his body between the Arsenal right back and the ball and drawing the contact to win the free kick.
Brilliant defending from Trezeguet, and you know, they've been excellent going forward, but a lot of the forward players for Aston Villa have been brilliant defensively as well. Jack Grealish being one of them, worked his socks off defensively for his team. Trezeguet just did there, took a block, John Terry-esque, as you spoke about earlier, Tim, and then, you know, was down for a couple of seconds, but then got up to come out and press the ball again. Now their pressing and closing has been at a far higher intensity than Arsenal's has. They've looked much more athletic, much more energy and pace about them than the Arsenal side today, and they've looked the real deal today, Villa.
Arsenal's only defeats this season have come against Liverpool, Manchester City and Leicester. They've otherwise won every other game they've played in all competitions. This is a real shock to the system as far as their progress is concerned under Mikel Arteta. They've been played off the park, their own park, here this evening. Not the way they would want to enter the international break. Gabriel chipping across to the far side. 84 played. Bellerin takes it down. With his shorts so soggy you can see his underwear. That's how wet it is in North London tonight. Grealish spins away from Elneny, then from Bellerin, looking to embarrass him in his underwear. Across the centre circle he goes, out towards the near side. Nobody can get the ball off Jack Grealish. Here's Trezeguet.
No, and that's it to me. He looks so strong and quick now. You know, he's always been very talented and great feet and movement, but the athleticism, the pace and the strength of him now as well, linked in with that, he looks really, really good, and he's just too strong for Arsenal today.
There's Cash on this near side, edging over halfway, and they've all looked strong in Villa black tonight as Trezeguet comes forward, gets his cross in from a deep position. There's a player to attack it on the far side. Watkins, of course, searching for a hat-trick, although it's steered away by Holding. 5 minutes of the 90 to play, and at the moment it doesn't look like there's any hope whatsoever for Arsenal. They would need a quite remarkable finish. They would need to score 3 goals in 5 minutes plus added time, and at the moment it looks like they won't even get one. Villa in the driver's seat, full of confidence, passing the ball around. McGinn gets it in the centre circle. Gets it across to the far side to Watkins, who takes it down.
There's a real trust about them, Tim. They all look like they trust each other with the ball, which is a great thing, linked into the confidence that you just spoke about. But there's a lot of good players out there. McGinn's been really good, and Grealish, and every one of them really. Watkins played so well, but like I say, there really appears to be that trust in each other and what they're doing, how they're playing. That really comes to the fore, I think.
With 4 new signings in the 11 as well, they have slotted in seamlessly. An improved Villa look to take them to the next level. Doesn't seem like there's any chance they'll be in a relegation scrap this season. And at the moment, they're about to go within a point of the top 4 after 7 games. They do still have a game in hand. They've played 1 less than Arsenal.
Just goes to show about momentum and things like that in football. So you look, last season Sheffield United were brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Everyone's waxing lyrical about them, and Villa were literally hanging on by their fingernails to stay in the top flight. And then you look at the change this year. Now obviously Villa made a few signings, but even so, for such a dramatic change is incredible. It can happen in football. You get the break and then you start winning and get a bit of momentum, and then it can just go. And I mean, like I say, the signings have made them better, but they trust each other, they believe in each other, they look like they really believe in the way they're playing, the style of play, the energy, the collective press. They're looking really, really good.
And the resilience as well to respond from back-to-back defeats after those 4 wins to start the season.
I'll say back-to-back defeats, but then also this, if it stays like this, is their 3rd away clean sheet. Fantastic. That's incredible.
And after being the only club in the whole of the Premier League not to have a single one last season, it's quite a remarkable turnaround.
The change around there as well, brilliant.
And their first substitution tonight will come after 88 minutes. It's El Ghazi who comes on for Trezeguet.
Yeah, he's run himself into the ground, Trezeguet. Like I said, done a lot of good things going forward, but his defensive work has been sensational.
Watkins on this near side, back to Cash. Watkins with 6 goals in his first 7 Premier League games now. Only Dean Saunders and Dion Dublin have netted more over their first 7 in Premier League history. Elneny passing forward. Can Arsenal get what would surely just be a consolation now as they move it out towards Pepe on the far side? His introduction hasn't had the desired effect at all as he slips it in towards Nketiah. Can't connect with him, but he did get connected to by the defender and wins a free kick on the corner of the box. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes remain though. It's going to be a very damp evening for Arsenal in the downpour in North London. Pepe will place it down. Saka is across there as well. Aston Villa pretty much know they've got the 3 points now, but they'd love a clean sheet as well as the clock ticks into the 90th minute.
That's right, Tim. With someone like John Terry on the coaching staff, he'll be really anxious till they see this through now and keep that clean sheet.
It's whipped in low again and steered away by Matt Targett. Final deliveries haven't been good enough from Arsenal. There's not much that has been good enough about Arsenal's performance tonight.
No, they've put quite a few crosses in and balls into the box, but from poor angles and poor deliveries, never really causing Aston Villa any trouble. Well, like I say, you've got to give Villa a lot of the credit, the way they pressed and closed down and shut the passing lines down for Arsenal. But Arsenal, you would expect to be better, and they've been playing quite well, overall this season as well. Like I say, the only defeats have come against the real big sides, as is normally the case with Arsenal. But they, going forward, they've not created enough and caused Villa anywhere near enough problems today.
Speaking of playing the big sides, Villa have lost 12 of their last 13 Premier League games away at the established Big Six clubs. Their only point in the last 39 available before tonight came at Old Trafford last season. They did beat Arsenal at home over the summer in the end to last season. But that ended a run of 7 straight defeats against the Gunners. And about to beat Arsenal in back-to-back games. And halfway through the first of 3 added minutes, and Villa have a free kick themselves about 10 yards off the near corner of the Arsenal penalty area.
Well, Grealish and Barkley on the ball, always going to play it short.
Yeah,
absolutely.
On the corner of the box, Grealish might have thought about going towards the corner flag, but not Jack Grealish. He jinks the other way, draws the contact again, and gets fouled for the umpteenth time tonight.
Well, they've had great fun, these two, Barkley and Grealish. Like I say, they've both been excellent, but they've linked up really well. They've just enjoyed themselves. You know, they look like they've got a swagger, but in the right way, and they look dangerous. They're creating chances. They both look on top of their game and in peak physical condition.
Barkley whips it in. Oh, it was right in front of goal, and Arsenal survive conceding a fourth. 2 Villa players attacking it, and somehow Leno, I think, got something on it as Arsenal avoids embarrassment late on. McGinn, it could still happen for Villa again. Barkley saved again, out it comes in front of goal, and Leno pounces on it once more, but it's all Aston Villa.
Yeah, brilliant play again. Barkley, Grealish, really good football. Barkley's just gliding past players. You know, he looks back to his old self and not really enjoying his football. He's always, he's been a real talent, and then sort of went off the ball, picked up a couple of injuries, and didn't really look particularly happy playing his football. But he's come to Villa now. He looks like he's really enjoying himself and playing some great stuff.
He's very much found his place at Aston Villa, particularly playing alongside Jack Grealish and in behind Ollie Watkins. They look so dangerous. Mings doing the dirty work defensively, just hammering it clear. Only a few seconds remaining at the Emirates. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3. And here come Villa again. Grealish, still a chance maybe to slide it into Watkins for the hat-trick. Might just go alone, but runs into the challenge of Holding in the penalty area, and it had to be timed well, and was, from Rob Holding as he passes out to the far side. Arsenal just can't wait for it to be over. It's been a torturous night for them on home soil. Here's Saka. Torturous for him after scoring the own goal. Clattered into from behind on the edge of the box. No foul though.
They again just take too long on the ball, and Villa get back so quickly.
And the cross from the far side drifts behind, and there is the final whistle from Martin Atkinson. Aston Villa singing and dancing in the North London night, in the pouring rain at the Emirates, as they win back-to-back league games against Arsenal for the first time since 1998. But more significantly for Dean Smith and his team, they win 5 of their first 7 in the Premier League this season. What a performance from Aston Villa to beat Arsenal by 3-0. An own goal from Saka in the first half, and 2 in the second from Ollie Watkins, as they sliced Arsenal to shreds. The final score, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale, weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talk Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Top Sport Legion, assume Cortis formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Arsenal against Aston Villa. What a super Sunday it's been in the English top flight, and we saved the biggest story for last.
Doherty with a cross, looking for Harry Kane. Kane with a header! Harry Kane! Goal number 150 in the Premier League! Has won the match for Tottenham with 2 minutes remaining.
Blasts it, sends the keeper the wrong way. Patricio dives to his right, but Vardy sends it to the keeper's left. And from the penalty spot, Leicester City have the lead. Jamie Vardy, what's he going to do this time? Oh, and it's the right this time, and then it bobbles up and wide of the goal. A save from Rui Patricio, and the score remains Leicester 1, Wolves 0. Good save from Patricio.
Mo Salah steps up from 12 yards, 12 minutes in, and he beats the goalkeeper to Ederson's right, and it is controversial because Sadio Mane has cheated to win it. 1-0 in the area. Jesus, lovely first touch, better second touch. He's levelled things up. Brilliant striker's play by Gabriel Jesus. Penalty given. Penalty has been given for handball, overturned by the VAR. Kevin De Bruyne steps up. Oh, he's put it wide. Kevin De Bruyne has put the penalty wide.
It's Barkley, slips it in behind. They've worked it wonderfully. Far post, it's in. Targett, what a goal that is for Aston Villa. Towards Barkley, arriving on the volley, and what a touch that is from Ross Barkley to put it on the plate for Ronnie Watkins. Still full of energy, it's Watkins on his left foot. It's 3 for Aston Villa. They have torn Arsenal apart in North London tonight. Yes, indeed, as you've heard there, West Brom 0, Tottenham 1, Leicester 1, Wolves 0, Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1. But finally, on this first weekend before the international break, Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 3. The live commentary, we've just brought you Kit Simons alongside me, Tim Long, for this one. What a way to finish before the international break. And if you're not looking forward to having a couple of weeks without Premier League football, do stay with us to wrap these games up over the next 12 or 13 minutes. Kit, what a performance that was from Aston Villa in all departments. Only maybe 10 minutes early on in that second half where they looked slightly out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, be fair, I mean, they started like an absolute house on fire, disallowed goal after 1 minute, and you think, they started a real tempo here, they won't be able to keep this going, but they did. For the full 90 minutes, they were by far the better team, created by far the better chances, scored 3 very, very good goals, helped by Arsenal, it must be said, but 3 really good goals in there. And, Grealish had one cleared off the line, and a disallowed one we've already spoken about. Just so good. They were excellent tonight, and defensively looked really, really strong. Their 3rd clean sheet away from home on the spin. they look the real deal. They look really, really good tonight.
It's not a fluke, is it? They've won 5 of their first 7. Yes, that was an incredible scoreline when they beat Liverpool 7-2, but they looked like they could have scored 4 or 5 at the Emirates tonight. They're on 15 points in 6th place, but they do have a game in hand. If they were to win that, they would actually go top of the Premier League ahead of Leicester City on goal difference. It's been quite a remarkable start to the season for a team that survived by just a single point last season.
Absolutely, and we spoke about earlier, they spent a lot of money for the start of last season. It didn't really work out. Well, they stayed up, which was the be-all and end-all, I suppose, but a lot of the signings didn't really gel, didn't fit in. Spent quite big again this close season, but they've spent really, really well this time, you've got to say. And the boys they brought in look excellent. Ollie Watkins obviously scoring the 2 goals tonight was fantastic, but they look really strong. The keeper makes a huge difference to them as well. Cash and Targett are both good signings, very good signings. Barkley, fantastic, really, really good, looks like his old self, and looks like he's loving playing alongside Jack Grealish, who again himself was excellent tonight.
The flip side of that, of course, is with Arsenal, who now just have 12 points from 8 games, 4 wins but also 4 defeats. They've got a -1 goal difference, and actually if Manchester United were to win their game in hand, they would actually have a point more than Arsenal. So should Mikel Arteta be feeling any pressure right now?
I would think, certainly questions will start being asked. You're a manager of a fantastic, huge football club like Arsenal. People demand results and performances, and they're sort of hit and miss a little bit, Arsenal, at the moment. They show signs of improvement one week, but then today was a huge step backwards. You've got to say, and they were completely outplayed, outworked. Villa looked fitter than them, looked like they had a better game plan. Everything about them, they were second best tonight, all over the pitch in every aspect. And that for an Arsenal side, or playing at the Emirates, albeit with no fans in the stadium, but against Aston Villa, is not good enough.
Yeah, nothing really went right for them here tonight, but in terms of the rest of their performances this season, it's a case of striking the right balance for Mikel Arteta, compared with perhaps the big imbalance that Arsenal have had over recent years. It has been very anti-modern Arsenal, hasn't it, that they have been solid this season for the most part, but going forward they've sacrificed some of that flair over the first 8 games. They've only scored 3 goals at Fulham, they got 2 against West Ham and Sheffield United, 1 or none in their other 5 games out of the first 8, but tonight they didn't have anything going forward or defensively.
No, that's right. I mean, we the big probably call of the lineup was playing Partey and Elneny together. We spoke about that, but I was quite happy with that, because I thought, listen, if it's 0-0 at half time, then you can bring Ceballos on at half time maybe, and if you want to go a little bit more expansive and a bit more attacking. But they looked shaky in the first half. Villa were the better team in the first half as well. Throughout the game, Aston Villa were the better team and looked the more dangerous. So then he made the changes, brought Ceballos on at half time, and he did okay. Listen, he cleared one off the line as well, and got on the ball a little bit, but they didn't cause Aston Villa anything like enough problems. And but I think you've got to give Villa an awful lot of credit for that. But still questions will be asked in the Arsenal dressing room for sure.
They'd actually conceded a league low 7 goals this season ahead of tonight, then let in 3 here. Could have been more than that. Aston Villa, remember, way back in the first minute, had one disallowed for offside. Plenty of chances late on as well. Arsenal clearing one off the line with Dani Ceballos. So what went wrong in terms of that defensive performance for them tonight? Was it just a case of Aston Villa being brilliant, or did Arsenal just perhaps lose their focus, the focus that they've sort of generated recently through big games, particularly against Manchester United at Old Trafford last week?
Yeah, I think so. And there weren't enough people in red shirts tonight willing to do the dirty side of it and make the blocks and track the runners. There wasn't enough of that. I mean, the Villa goals were excellent, but we spoke about the disallowed goal right in the very first minute. McGinn is in acres of space in the Arsenal penalty box. That cannot happen. At first minute, last minute, I don't care. Any stage of the game, that cannot be happening. For the Ollie Watkins first goal, a great diagonal ball from Douglas Luiz. Brilliant ball, but no one's tracking Ross Barkley at all. He gets into the Arsenal box completely free. Then his technique for the volley across the box for Watkins to head in is sensational, but he's arriving, no one's tracking him. No one at all tracked that run, and that's awful. That cannot happen. Again, you're not going to win games of football if people don't track runners into your own box. So it's things like that, and they clearly pinpointed Aston Villa, that inside left channel of Arsenal's so the Arsenal right, as a weakness, because all 3 goals and the disallowed goal all came from that, and the one that Jack Grealish had cleared off the line, he's on his inside left Arsenal right channel when he has a shot that's cleared off the line. So they've done their homework really, really well, pinpointed it and exploited it perfectly tonight.
And perhaps nobody better in the Premier League right now to exploit that area of the pitch than Jack Grealish, who's now been directly involved in 9 goals in his first 7 Premier League games this season. 4 goals, 5 assists, including the one for the 3rd goal here tonight. Only Harry Kane and Son Heung-min have had a direct hand in more. How good is Jack Grealish?
I've always known he was a good player and a real talent, but then you look at the other side of his game and you think, well, defensively maybe you need to do a bit more, athletically maybe a bit more, but now he looks like, tonight he was excellent, and all this season what I've seen of him, he's working his socks off. He looks so quick and strong. For the Ollie Watkins 2nd goal with his left foot finish, Grealish bursts forward, showing brilliant pace, leaving Arsenal in his way, and then someone tries to knock him off the ball, and he's really strong upper body as well, and he's obviously got strong legs, and he just bounced the Arsenal player off him and then plays Ollie Watkins through for a left foot finish, puts it between Leno's legs. But brilliant play from him, and he looks excellent now, and he's done a lot of defensive work as well, tracking back, winning tackles in and around his own penalty box. He's really given it his all for the team, but the whole team look like they're doing that. They've really bought into the philosophy that Dean Smith has put in place, and they look really strong tonight.
Still only 25 as well, the Aston Villa captain, and plenty of room to improve even more. And what a player Aston Villa have got on their hands, and what a performance they put in tonight. That's the big story of the day in the Premier League. But the big game came at the Etihad earlier on. Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1 was the score. We can hear more on that one from your match commentator Tom Rennie.
A first meeting of the 2 standard bearers of the Premier League this season, the 2019 champions and 2020 runners-up Manchester City, hosting the 2019 runners-up and reigning champions Liverpool. The first half of the game certainly lived up to the billing. There was goals, drama, talking points, controversy, and 1-1 was the scoreline. Mo Salah opened the scoring on 13 minutes from the penalty spot after Sadio Mane ran next to Kyle Walker, jumped to the ground and got himself a penalty. The referee did not go and look at the monitor for a review. It was not seen as a clear and obvious error, but maybe it wasn't. Who knows what a dive is in 2020. Mo Salah converted the penalty. Another goal from him. What a start to the season he has had. 8 goals for Liverpool in this season's Premier League. No player has ever scored more in the Reds' first 8 games of a campaign. He's now level with Fernando Torres and Robbie Fowler in holding that record. Manchester City got back in the game midway through the second half. The 31st minute, Gabriel Jesus scoring again. 3 games this season and 3 goals from him. Beautiful turn that sent Trent Alexander-Arnold for a hot dog, and then a poke past the goalkeeper, which reminded me at least of Ian Wright. Fantastic finish past him. Late drama in that half too, because Kevin De Bruyne missed a penalty. A handball given against Joe Gomez controversially. Where on earth is the arm expected to be these days? What is the expected position, the natural silhouette? And any other interpretation of handball we need to go through to find out what's intentional and what should be given. It was given. The referee saw it on a monitor, reviewed it and gave it. But Kevin De Bruyne not only missed the penalty, he missed the target completely. He becomes the first person to miss the target completely in a Premier League game since Riyad Mahrez in this same game, but at Anfield back in 2018. Second half, the exact opposite. A figurative and literal game of two halves. Nothing happened, nothing to tell you about. Maybe there is something in both of these managers asking for 5 subs, not 3, because everyone looked knackered. At full time, Liverpool third going into the international break, 17 points, level with Tottenham in second, behind Leicester, who are top with 18. For Manchester City, they are top of the bottom half going into international break, 12 points from their opening 7 games played.
Before that, we saw a controversial win for Leicester over Wolves, watched by Richard Wolfenden.
Another 3 points for Brendan Rodgers' Leicester City side. A solid 1-0 win at home to an informed Wolverhampton Wanderers means the Foxes sit top of the table at the full-time whistle this afternoon. The return to the starting lineup of James Maddison was the standout talking point before today's game, and it was the returning midfielder who ran the show for the home side. However, as expected, it was the iconic Leicester number 9 who gave the home side the lead. Max Kilman pulled up for a handball and Jamie Vardy sent Rui Patricio the wrong way. Well, it wasn't the only penalty of the first half, as Ryan Ait-Nouri moments later chopped down James Justin to give Vardy the chance to double the home side's lead. However, this time the Wolves keeper Patricio was able to keep it out. In a second half that saw both sides huff and puff, Wolves weren't able to find an equaliser, which meant the game finished Leicester City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
And appropriately, perhaps we should finish on Leicester City, because they are top of the Premier League table. Kit, a 1-0 win today with a bit of good fortune against Wolves, but 6 wins from 8 games, top of the pile. What have you made of them so far?
Yeah, really impressive since day one. Obviously, the emphatic victory against Man City made everyone sit up, and they've done really well, and deservedly top of the league.
It's been an absolute pleasure having your company, Kit, today, and everybody listening around the world, wherever you are. It has been a wonderful weekend of action as well, hasn't it, in the English top flight. Do stay safe, of course, over the international break, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you